Welcome back. It's what if Naruto was banished from Konoha for 10 years and then wanted back? Like and sub if you haven't already, and let's begin. How strong is it? Can you tell? Kurenai asked. Didn't get enough time to check. It vanished. Kakashi mumbled, lowering his headband over his Sharingan. I don't think Kiba would win this one, Kurenai. Have some faith, Kakashi, she said grimly, although she knew it was the truth. Where did he get the time to build an entire business empire in his name and learn to become so strong? Asuma asked, taking a puff of his cigarette. We're talking about the boy who can multiply himself into thousands of copies, Asuma. If he figured out the secret behind shadow clones, which I'm pretty sure he did, then there is no telling how much he accomplished in 10 years. Kakashi said. They all watched as Naruto utterly trashed the Inuzuka, who had once again charged blindly at the blonde. They all shook their head at his brashness. How he became a Jonin, they would never understand, and we still don't know the limits of his strength. It is quite obvious that none of the rookie 9, who were well on their way to Jonin, could stand 5 minutes against him. For all we know, he might have already surpassed all of us. Tsunade spoke, sadly staring at her once precious boy, who now promised to crush her home. In the background, Sasuke scoffed. Standing beside him, Sakura looked offended in her master's lack of faith. Shursho, you forget that he no longer has the Kyuubi. Even if he is as strong as you say, there is no way he could win, not after fighting all of us back to back. That was the plan, was it not? Even if he wins now and gets everything from the losers, by the end he would be tired, and it would be an easy win for us, and by defeating him, everything that he won till then would ultimately be returned to us. Unlike the rest of those fools, we all are a ranked and S-ranked shinobi and Umbu, with 2 of them being the Sannin and 1 ex-Umbu commander. Hanabi finished looking at the rest of them. She was very confident in her ability to win. After all, she was an A-ranked shinobi in the bingo books, whereas all those who fought Naruto till now were barely B-ranked. Our victory is sure, Tsunade-sama. As Kurenai said, have some faith. Tsunade looked down at the arena, where Naruto stood over the now defeated Kiba. His appearance as immaculate and relaxed as he had been when it started, and Tsunade found it hard to find that faith she needed. Winner Naruto Uzumaki. What is he doing to all of them? Kurenai asked. Is it a Jinjutsu? She, like everyone, had seen her student scream in pain after Naruto just touched him, and just like the others, Kiba passed out without any physical wounds. I am not sure. Whatever he is doing to them, all I can see is a bright flash of chakra that is actually quite painful to look at with the Sharingan, and probably the Byakugan too. They all looked at Hanabi, who had long since deactivated her Byakugan after the first time Naruto used the technique on Ino. And like Kakashi had said, it was very painful, and she had found herself gritting her teeth in pain and eyes watering profusely as her vision blurred. She hadn't bothered to activate the Byakugan to watch the fights that followed. It leaves them all perfectly healthy, at least physically, except for Ino, that is. Poor girl. Kurenai said, there must be a way to reverse it, right, Shursho? Sakura asked, worried for her friend, who had become older than her mother, just like that. Sadly, Tsunade shook her head. Other than wearing a Jinjutsu like Tsunade's, there was no way for Ino to look young again. Naruto Uzumaki v/S Hanabi Hyuga. Hanabi disappeared from there and appeared on the stadium, with a silent promise that this will be the last match of the day. Ah, the ex-Hyuga princess. Heard that you wanted to fight me so badly. Naruto smiled at the girl who looked at him with narrowed eyes. You will pay for dragging the Hyuga main branch down. After this fight is over, you will be nothing more than a guard dog for Konoha once again. Naruto chuckled. When first, princess. Then I'll believe you. Begin. You are in my range of divination. Hanabi declared, smirking as she entered her stance. She had intentionally shunned Shined that close to Naruto. So, it's not like it will do you any good. Naruto smirked. Hanabi glared and moved forward. 8 trigrams. 64 palms. Devastation. Her hands moved as she aimed each strike at Naruto's chakra points, and to her utter surprise, he blocked them, every single one of them. She moved faster in a frenzy to confuse him, but he simply kept up with her. Her personally modified gentle fist style was picked apart before her very own eyes. It was impossible. Once caught in the technique, the victim's speed and reaction should have reduced drastically. But if he was able to keep up with her at her maximum speed, and, with his own speed reduced to about only a 100th of the original, she feared how fast he truly is. Truly, the son of the fastest man in history. But unlike his father, Naruto's speed was just that, the pure speed with no technique to assist. As her technique neared the end of the final 128 strikes, she changed her tactic, bent her legs to change her footing, and twisted her just seconds before the final strike and called out, "Heavenly rotation." Naruto had no time to react before the full brunt of the spinning chakra dome crashed into him at a close range. Hanabi canceled her technique just as quickly as she activated and sped through hand signs, not wanting to give Naruto any reprieve that might cost her the victory. Earth style, dragon dance. Multiple dragons made of stone and dirt rushed at Naruto. The impact made a huge cloud of dust. But Hanabi kept vigilant with her 𝐫𝐞𝐽 in full focus. She sensed the presence behind her far too late, and for all her efforts, she got a kick to the back that sends her crashing forward before she regained her balance and swiftly attacked him with a gentle fist to the heart. Her hand was caught way before she could make contact, and with a sickening crunch, she found herself cradling a broken wrist and censored, "I need back the pain it bought." Her left hand made another attempt at a gentle fist strike, but that hand was caught at the elbow by a quick jab. And to her horror, she felt the chakra flow to her left hand shut down completely, in a way that even the gentle fist couldn't accomplish. She was forced out of her shock by a knee to her stomach, followed by an uppercut that she was sure cracked her jaw. The backhand that sends her crashing to the ground was no better. And that's how Hanabi Hyuga found herself crumpled at the feet of the man she swore to defeat. Naruto looked down at the woman at his feet. Naruto frowned when the proctor began announcing the victor. He didn't mean to end it just like that. Winner? No! Everyone looked at Hanabi, who got back to her feet. "I can still fight." As the girl glared at him with contempt, Naruto found himself chuckling. "You Hyugas in your pride. So foolish. But I am glad you got back up." The Hyuga narrowed her eyes at the blonde. She gingerly moved into her gentle fist stance once again, managing as much as she could with a broken wrist and a chakra-blocked arm. The defense was her only bet at the moment until she could find a weakness, that is. Naruto tilted his head and observed her for a moment, before suddenly he was in front of her, a hand at her throat, and then pain. Hanabi screamed as she crumbled to the floor. She felt like she had swallowed fire, and now it was burning her insides, especially her eyes. Naruto had done the same mysterious technique, and the flash of chakra at such a close range was more than her poor eyes could handle, not to mention the pain her body was in. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The unconscious Hyuga was moved out of the stadium by Medic Nin. Naruto saw Hinata among the Medic Nin. He locked eyes with her. "She'll survive," he said quietly, but Hinata understood him anyway. Hanabi might have been a spoiled brat, but she was still her sister. Hinata mumbled a tearful thank you as she walked away with the other Medic Nin carrying Hanabi. Earlier, the nobles greeted the 𝐸𝐸𝐾𝐸 that entered the area reserved for nobles. "𝐸𝐸𝐾𝐸-sama, what brings you to the nobles?" One old man who was a noble from Sand greeted Kayashiro respectfully. "If you don't mind, I would like to have a word with one of you." "Oh, and who would that be?" the man questioned. Many of the unmarried noble women, and even some married ones, hoped that it was them that the handsome and seemingly young Kage wanted to talk with. "With Lady Yamane." "Lady Yamane, you say?" "I was not aware of a Lady Yamane among us." The old man trailed off confused. Just then, a raven-haired beauty with sparkling violet eyes stood up in her regal silk kimono. "What business do you have with me, 𝐸𝐸𝐾𝐸-sama?" The woman's tone was sultry, and many of the women looked at her in jealousy when Kayashiro offered her a charming smile. "My lady, I would like to invite you to dinner with me and my husband this evening to discuss some political matters regarding a potential alliance between us." "Husband?" Almost all nobles screeched internally. "Dinner with you and your husband, you say? Such confidence that your husband will still be with you come evening," Yamane said, gazing at Naruto fighting Hanabi down below. The noble who figured out who the husband was even more disappointed at having lost a chance at both Naruto and Kayashiro. "My confidence is not unfounded. Shall I be expecting you, my lady?" Yamane narrowed her eyes in thought, then nodded stiffly and placed another sultry smile on her lips. "Would that be all?" Kayashiro nodded with a polite smile and left. As he left, Yamine's eyes narrowed at his back. Potential alliance, you say? I hope you know who you were dealing with. Kayashiro Kazama and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto Uzumaki V/S begin. There was no conversation between them as they didn't know each other, and the fight started immediately. Naruto dodged the ink lions as Sai had taken to the sky on his ink bird. He slammed his palm onto one of them, and the lions exploded into a shower of ink. Surprisingly, not one drop fell on Naruto. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he saw the ink seeping into the ground, but had no time to ponder on it before another lion attacked him. Sai made more ink lions from on top of his bird, and they jumped down to the arena. Naruto narrowed his eyes and made 10 clones. All of them began tearing apart ink animals. That boy is planning something, Inoki said, looking at Sai, who was hovering above the arena. Indeed, but what? I asked. That ink, it is seeping into the ground and just disappearing. It's some kind of trap, Karatsuchi said. I have a bad feeling about this, Gaara said, looking down at the arena. Well, you are not the only one. Kayashiro, who had appeared back inside the Kage box, said. It's over for you now, boy. Danzo thought, smirking down at the arena. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the ink animals that began melting into ink on their own. He stepped back suspiciously as the creature he was fighting, too, melted down. What are you planning? He thought, looking at Sai, who was now at a visible height. The ink had all vanished into the ground. Something about the whole scenario unsettled him. Suddenly, there were seals all around him. They appeared quickly as the ink suddenly began streaming out of the ground, forming strokes of kanji. Naruto couldn't get a good look at the seal since it was massive and he was trapped in the center, but he did recognize the kanji he did get a look at and had a good guess what the seal was for. The seal array began to glow, and soon it was glowing a bright red color. Naruto felt the seal immobilizing him and draining his chakra at a steady rate. He wasn't worried about chakra depletion simply because he had so much chakra that he knew the seal would get overpowered and blow up. But that didn't mean he would be careless, nor would he let the people find out that particular detail about his chakra capacity. He would need less than a quarter of his chakra to overpower the seal. But overpowering the seal meant people getting an idea of how much chakra he had, because the chakra needed to overpower the seal is well past any human's limit. The clones all began popping one by one. The entire arena was now one gigantic seal array, with the original Naruto trapped inside. Naruto struggled for a minute, then calmed down and observed the seal more. A suppression seal capable of subduing even a Biju, if only for a brief period of time, and the chakra-draining seal. Containment seal? The list goes on. At best, the seal could take out a 5-tailed Biju. Impressive, but not good enough. Naruto began looking for that one particular seal that would be Sai's downfall. Everyone was looking at the arena in awe. Sai knew sealing. Sakura exclaimed, looking at Kakashi and Sasuke. Both of them didn't answer her, and Kakashi discreetly eyed Jiraiya. Jiraiya looked pensive, knowing what was coming next. It was his seal that was going to be Naruto's downfall. He was both relieved and guilty at the same time. He looked over at Tsunade, who refused to meet his eyes, but he knew that it was guilt that was consuming her. The way she grits her teeth to stop herself from shouting out at the unfairness of it all. He closed his eyes. It was unfair, and he knew that. He knew that better than anyone. After all, he was the one who gave Minato the fucking idea to use his kid as a Jinchuriki. He was the one who convinced his student that his son would be the child of prophecy. He was the worthless godfather that abandoned his godson for 12 fucking years. And after all that, he was the first one to give up on Naruto when Sasuke accused him. And he knew he didn't even give the kid a chance to explain just because the prophecy had changed. The Toads told him that the prophecy, the fucking prophecy that he sacrificed everything for, had changed. Naruto was no longer the child of prophecy that would save the world, because there might not be a child of prophecy to begin with. Wasn't that just great? And who paid the price for the change in the prophecy? Naruto did. Jiraiya took his anger out on the kid that didn't even have an idea about the prophecy. Wasn't that the noblest thing to do? Now, after all the crap they had put the kid through, his village wanted him back, and Jiraiya was helping his village. Maybe it wouldn't hurt so much if he didn't know that they were cheating. No matter how many times he told himself that cheating was part of being a ninja, he couldn't help but feel guilty. Naruto was set up for a failure from the beginning. Jiraiya. He turned to look at Tsunade, who called out his name. I am forfeiting. Everyone present looked at their Kage with wide eyes. Sensei, what the hell are you talking about now? Sakura shouted. I can't dash. Tsunade looked down and all of them saw the tears brimming in her eyes. Jiraiya felt like he couldn't even face her anymore. I can't do this. He is I just can't. Tsunade. Jiraiya spoke sternly, his face set in a grim expression. I believe that forfeit is not an option for you. And why the hell is that? She turned enraged eyes to him, and Jiraiya ruthlessly squashed the urge to shrink away from her fury, and most of all, her pain. You're the Hokage of Konoha. Your defeat means a lot more than just the loss of your inheritance and money. It means the loss of Konoha, and you can't do that to your village. Tsunade laughed, and it was a censored, broken sound that all of them cringed. My village! My village! She laughed again, and some of them were worried that their Hokage was losing it. The person who made this my village is fighting against me and my village right now, Jiraiya. She might as well have roared it out for all the impact those silent words had. If Naruto could convince me once to join the village I swore away from and to take up a position I despised, then he doesn't need words to convince me to give it all away. Everyone looked at her outraged. There were protests all around, but Jiraiya remained silent. Finally, he spoke. What if he loses? What if he loses and you aren't here to be his Hokage? He'll win, Tsunade said with conviction. Why was she defending him now? She thought. She had chances to defend him earlier, so why was she doing it now? Because earlier she believed that if Naruto would just come back to the village, they could fix everything. Fix their broken relationship into something similar to what it was before all this. But then everything went out of hand, and she forced herself to believe that this was the right path. But every interaction between Naruto and his past friends during the matches proved her wrong. Whatever they had before was ruined, dead, and this course of action was only mangling the corpse further. In the end, their words hit home, and her lies that kept her from seeing things clearly were ripped away. Hanabi was right. If Naruto ever comes back to Konoha, a guard dog is all he'll ever be. He had a life out there, a family, and that thought hit her hard because once upon a time she was a part of that family. With all these realizations came a kind of numbness that she couldn't push away. She wished that she had a bottle of sake with her. That's the only way she knew how to deal with all this. Jiraiya's words brought her out of her depressing thoughts, and his tone and the look on his face set off warning bells in her head. He won't, Jiraiya said with enough conviction to match his blooming guilt. He has done something, her mind warned. She gave Jiraiya a suspicious look. What did you do? Jiraiya was silent. Impossible, Naruto thought. So I shouldn't have enough chakra to maintain this seal. His eyes narrowed. Already the seal had drained about half a tael worth of chakra. It was no big deal to him, but he wasn't going to show it. Half a tael worth of chakra was a big deal for all normal ninja, and people shouldn't be finding out just how normal Naruto is. And the seal? Unless Konoha had a new seal master all along, there is no way that Sai could manage this seal without help. Of course, Sai had help. Naruto was no fool, and he could recognize the work he was seeing for who made it. Naruto leaned down on one knee just for show and grunted like he was in pain. Maybe he should try acting as well since he is so good at it. There were gasps from his fans when he went down and applause from the Konohans. Naruto suppressed a smirk as he spotted the seal he was looking for. Time's up, Sai. Biting down on his thumb, he broke the skin and stopped his healing from interfering with the flow of blood. He brought the bloody finger to the ground. 1 stroke, 2 strokes, 3 and 4. Sealing was such a delicate art. A single stroke can mean a lot of difference. The restriction seal that had kept Naruto trapped in the seal had been disabled. Not wasting any time, Naruto started running towards the seal he spotted. In a moment, he was crouched down next to the master seal, which was basically what kept the entire seal array together. What's he doing now? Jiraiya's eyes narrowed, while everyone else looked at the display with curiosity. Tsunade was giving him an accusing look, and he knew that she had figured it out. The entire stadium was rigged from the beginning, and Jiraiya was the one who did it. So I looked down at what Naruto was doing. He had managed to get freedom of movement within the seal, and that was not good. But it wouldn't be long before that Naruto was entirely drained, and it wasn't like Sai could do anything. He cannot attack Naruto without risking the seal array absorbing the chakra he used to create the attack. And Jiraiya-sama and Danzo-sama had warned him not go anywhere near the seal array once it was activated, so he had nothing that he could do but watch. As he watched, Naruto finished whatever he was doing and stood up. Unease made itself known when he noticed that Naruto looked entirely too smug. Naruto made some changes in the Master Seal and stood up more relaxed. He looked up at the hovering Sai and gave a smirk. Everyone was watching with bated breath to see what would happen. Jiraiya cursed when the seal's glow died down. He felt a tug at his chakra, and his eyes widened when the array began glowing again. But this time it was brilliant white in color. So white that it was almost blinding. Jiraiya panicked when the tug on his chakra became more forceful. Naruto reversed it. He reversed the fucking seal. Without giving it a second thought, he tugged back his sleeves and pulled out a kunai. In his inner wrist, there was a seal, the seal that connected him to the seal on the arena. He quickly slashed the kunai through the middle of the seal, then used his blood to draw a counter seal. He sighed when the tug vanished, but looking down at the arena, he could see Naruto shaking his head. Jiraiya knew that disappointment was meant for him. He had failed once again. All around him, the ninjas present gave him varying looks. He pretended not to see the understanding that dawned on their faces and the contempt on Tsunade's. But ignoring it didn't make it disappear. Naruto smiled ruefully. He knew there was something strange about the stadium from the beginning, but he couldn't figure out what. The base for the seal had already been set up before the matches. Sai only initiated it. It was controlled by Jiraiya and powered by the chakra storage tanks beneath the arena floor. He hadn't paid much attention to the chakra storage tanks because they had been always there. They would absorb any residual chakra present after each fight, and the collected power would be stored away for later. This had been how it was since Arena was built. I guess defeating me was an emergency. It wasn't fair, he knew that. Ninjas never played fair, and that was just one of the things he hated about his once profession. He was planning on being nice, but if this is how they want to play, he don't mind. He crouched down and put one more stroke on the Master Seal. The white glow turned blue. Jiraiya had cut himself off from the seal to save himself, but the fool either forgot or thought that it would be fine to leave the connection with the storage tanks intact. Now there was nothing between Naruto and 4 taels worth of chakra stored beneath his feet. Hokage-sama? Tsunade turned her glower on to the poor fool who had come with some urgent message. What? She snapped. Hokage-sama, our chakra storage tanks are being drained. We have already half of the stored chakra and is steadily losing more as we speak. The Chunin messenger was shaking from the wrath of the Kage. But then Tsunade laughed. She laughed so hard that tears sprung from her eyes. It was all so funny to her. They were going to fail, and it made her happy to know that. She turned to look at Jiraiya, who had paled like he had seen a ghost. Didn't think that this could happen, did you? He's absorbing the chakra from the storage tanks, he whispered, horrified. The original seal was supposed to absorb Naruto's chakra and add it to the storage tanks, but now that Naruto had reversed it, the seal was taking chakra from the tanks and giving it to Naruto. The seal was only a backup plan. When Jiraiya had planted the seal with Danzo and the council's knowledge and help, he really didn't believe that Naruto would be strong enough that they would need to use the seal. But Danzo had pushed it, saying they needed a backup plan, and Jiraiya had agreed. Now their backup just backfired on them. Jiraiya turned aghast and looked down at the stadium. How much chakra was in the tanks? Sakura asked worriedly. Almost 4 taels worth of chakra. Tsunade said, smirking amusedly. Had it been anyone else than Naruto, their body would have given out at the stress from that much chakra, but not for him. He is an Uzumaki and was a fucking Jinchuriki to boot. His body is adept at handling more potent chakra at a larger level. For taels worth of normal chakra, like this isn't anything compared to an equal amount of Biju chakra. So the worst that could happen to him for taking on this much chakra would be a slight falter in his control. Naruto was glowing with the power he was absorbing. Jiraiya cursed this couldn't be happening. The seal was supposed to drain and defeat Naruto. Now it had made him more powerful than when he had begun with. Another messenger came a second later to inform them that their storage tanks were completely empty, and in the background Jiraiya could hear Tsunade's chuckles. But his eyes were fixed on Naruto, who was smirking at him with a vicious twinkle in his eyes, and even from this distance Jiraiya was sure of what he saw. Naruto took his eyes off of Jiraiya and turned to look at 𝐸, who was hovering unsurely. He had no idea whether it was safe to be within the range of the seal or not. Soon, once the storage tanks were empty, the seal gave one final glow and it died down. Naruto chuckled. Since he absorbed some extra power, showing off didn't seem like a bad idea. 𝐸 had no idea what hit him before he was wrapped up completely in golden chains and was pulled down to the ground. There was a crater where he fell. Naruto moved closer to the struggling man. Of course, there was no way of getting out of the chains. Even 𝐸𝐻ration wouldn't work once you're trapped in them. That's what made the Uzumaki chakra chains so infamous. Once you're caught, it means you're trapped with no way out unless you can break the chains with a physical force, which was also very hard to do. He didn't waste any time. Moved one hand to the struggling man's forehead, and 𝐸 passed out screaming like all others. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The medics were quick to remove 𝐸 from the arena. Everyone was waiting with bated breath for the next match. Sakura stood with the other shinobi waiting for her match to be announced. Sakura, Kakashi called, and she turned to look at him. You won't be able to win this one like this. Sensei 𝐸. Her protest died down when Tsunade scoffed at her. He's right, girl. Maybe you should just forfeit. Sakura turned her glare on to the woman who had taught her and shrunk back when the woman glared back. That was not what I was trying to say, Kakashi said, and Tsunade turned to him with a raised eyebrow. He continued, and this time looking at his 𝐫𝐸 and Jiraiya. We need to regroup and come up with something new. We have no idea what he had done to the others, and so far from what we have seen, all he needs is a single touch to cause damage. We need more time, Kakashi said. From the side, Sasuke scoffed, and the others frowned thoughtfully. Tsunade looked irritated by the whole thing. We don't have any breaks planned between the matches. You all should know that, since it was your fucking idea that the continuous matches would tire him out. And now you want a break? Well, you can go suck a dick, asshole. Some of the shinobi looked scandalized at the Hokage, but Tsunade only smirked. Jiraiya frowned, but he knew that Kakashi was right. Naruto reversing the seal, not just any seal, it was Jiraiya's masterpiece, means that he is at least at seal master level in sealing. But the ease with which Naruto had reversed the seal meant more than a seal master level. Kakashi scowled under his mask. The matches had started at 10 a.m., and now it was close to 11 a.m. Naruto took barely 1 hour for defeating 9 opponents in one-on-one matches. Surely the rest of them were stronger than the first 9 Jonin, but it didn't mean much if they went in blind. Not to mention that the amount of chakra that Naruto absorbed meant more trouble. The chakra had formed a translucent blue layer around him, and it was cackling like lightning and churning like violent waves. This was not good for them at all. They needed time, and their 𝐫𝐸 was not listening. Tsunade-sama, you need to dash. I'm not announcing for a break, Kakashi. You can forget about it. Kakashi turned grim and looked down to the stadium just as the match was announced. Sakura went down to the arena without another word. Having fun? Of course, Naruto raised his head to look at Kayashiro. He heard a chuckle resounding through their link, and he smiles back. He agreed to the meeting. Naruto hummed thoughtfully. We should be prepared. You sure this is what you want to do? What I want to do, Kyo? What I want to do is rip his head right off his shoulders. But this is what I need to do, for Gigi at least. Else that poor soul might never find rest. Naruto felt Kayashiro trying to calm him down through the bond and smiled softly. There is also something else. Naruto became curious. What? A child you might want to take a look at. Naruto frowned thoughtfully. A child. Just then the next match was announced. Naruto Uzumaki v/S Sakura Haruno begin. Sakura-chan, Naruto greeted in a mockingly cheerful tone. Sakura scowled. You have no right to address me like that. Like we are friends. Naruto raised his eyebrow and then nodded with a smirk. All right then, Haruno-san, shall we begin? Sakura answered with a resounding strike to the ground, and earth crumbled beneath her fist. Naruto jumped up gracefully and retreated to the other edge of the stadium. Sakura was with him in a matter of moments, but Naruto dodged all of her attacks easily. She wasn't surprised as she saw how Naruto dodged Hanabi's attacks earlier. His speed was beyond her, and she had no hope for matching him in speed. Yet she kept on trying to land a punch on him and distract him. Naruto was amused. Sakura thought that he was distracted enough to not notice how she had slipped down those explosive tags. Moments before the first explosion, Naruto had vanished. Explosions rocked the arena, and Naruto watched from another safer part of it. Sakura appeared behind him ready to punch his brains out. He turned around at the last minute, and all the shinobi who knew the strength of the frontline medic froze. Naruto caught her fist in the palm of his hand, nonchalantly. He wasn't even straining, just stood there with that nonchalant pose and Sakura's fist firmly caught in his palm. Sakura's eyes widened. Naruto? How? That's Uzumaki-san to you? Haruno-san, or you can call me Namikaze-san. After all, we're not friends. Sakura almost didn't notice his other hand until it was too late, but she dodged at the nick of the time. This time, Naruto went on the offensive. But Sakura knew without a doubt that he was holding back, and even then, she barely escaped with her neck intact. Naruto was playing with her, that much was sure. Her mind raced to find a plan, but Naruto was slipping out of all her traps very easily. He countered her strength and taijutsu like she was just an academy student. Sakura aimed another punch, and all it did was destroy more of the stadium. Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Where did he dash? Her line of thought was cut off by a sharp punch to her spine from behind. Sakura choked out a cry, and she could feel her vertebrae breaking like twigs under the force of the punch. Another kick was placed at the back of her head, and pain radiated through her entire body as her skull cracked under the impact. Sakura was too stunned to stop another punch to her chest that took out at least 4 of her ribs. She crumbled to the floor as her body could no longer support itself. Come on, Haruno-san, we both know that this means nothing to you. Naruto was standing in front of her, and he was right. With a glare and a pained grimace, Sakura focused on her seal. Seal, release. The injuries vanished within the second. Sakura grimaced this time in irritation. It didn't take even few minutes of the match before she was forced to use her seal. She looked up and saw that Naruto was smiling at her. She growled and moved forward. Punch, dodge, kick, dodge. This continued on for some time, with Naruto landing too many punches too often. Sakura staggered back when Naruto managed to land a blow once more. It didn't take her long to figure out that if it hadn't been for the instant regeneration, she would have been nothing but a bloody piece of meat by now. Then all of a sudden Naruto stopped. He had indulged her long enough. Sakura, too, stopped, warily gazing at Naruto, who was smiling at her patiently. So Haruno-san, I believe it's time to end this. Sakura's eyes narrowed. What's he planning? She cursed herself for not getting some more ninjutsu in her arsenal. She had concentrated on her physical strength and medical jutsu, both of which were not really useful in this situation. The coat of chakra that was swirling around him began concentrating around his palms in something similar to the chakra scalpel and covered up to his forearms. Sakura concentrated and activated her own chakra scalpel, and their match resumed. What happened next was brutal. This time, Naruto was even faster, his movements more precise and aiming for maximum damage. Sakura soon found out that unlike her chakra scalpels, whatever Naruto was using was shredding her muscles and nerves like wet noodles. They were aimed especially on her nerves. It was so much damage that she knew the instant regeneration technique was only barely managing to repair the damages. Panting and at a loss of what to do, Sakura stood to stare at Naruto in utter disbelief. She thought that she had a good guess on his abilities. Then he goes and proves her wrong by going even beyond what she already knew. She resumed her fighting stance and got ready to take off. But then something went very wrong. All of them were silent as they watched the scene. Tsunade was the one who broke the silence with a chuckle. One of my greatest techniques, Tsunade laughed wholeheartedly, and he managed to surpass it. Tsunade was smiling unlike everyone else with her. Guess he surpassed the both of us already, huh, Jiraiya? She didn't bother looking at Jiraiya. Her eyes stayed fixed on the arena. Jiraiya stood behind her scowling. Her words weren't meant to be comforting, and Jiraiya was none too happy to hear them. Her whole body shook, and she stared in wonder at her arms. She couldn't muster up the horror she needed to feel, and only stared surprised at the stream of blood still leaking from the multiple cuts on both her arms. She was bleeding. She was bleeding, and she knew that her instant regeneration was still in effect. She stared at it for some more moment, willing the cuts to stitch back together. But no, her chakra was directed for the more extensive internal damage, she noted duly. Her chakra was still trying to fix the mangled nerves that were a result of Naruto's strikes, and if the worsening shaking and the loss of feeling in her legs were any indications, her chakra wasn't doing a very good job. Sakura numbly turned to look at Naruto as her body shook harder, and she crashed onto her knee. He was now standing right in front of her. Would he leave her alive like he had done for the rest of the opponents, or would she be an exception? Her career was lost. She knew that at a base level, extensive nerve damage meant that she would never have a steady hand or the immaculate chakra control she prized even if managed to heal and live. There would be no unscathed escape. Naruto raised his right hand, the chakra still covering onto his forearms, and her eyes took in the sight of minute blades of chakra that moved like raging waves over his arms. She closed her eyes and waited for the finishing blow and hoped that he made an exception and was about to end her. Without her career, her purpose, it wasn't worth living. But the blow she expected didn't come, and instead, 2 fingers grazed her forehead. Startled, she opened her eyes. There was no pain like she had expected. Not that she thought she could be in any more pain than what she was already suffering through, and she fell down to the ground completely, eyes falling shut. Winner: Naruto Uzumaki. Due to extensive damage to the arena ground, the matches will be postponed to tomorrow. The announcement was met with many protests and disappointment from the audience, but even they could see the damage done to the arena ground. Sakura and Naruto's match had resulted in deep fissures and cracks across the entire stadium. Naruto stood at a corner of the stadium with a frown. After some contemplating on whether or not to fix the ground this instant and let the matches continue, he decides not to do it. After all, he would need to keep up some illusion that he was still human enough, and defeating all of them in one go would not aid that. So with a sigh, he vanished silently from the arena and appeared beside his friends and mate. So, did you all enjoy the show? Naruto asked the various 𝐫𝐸, and there are chuckles and various forms of agreement from them all. Kayashiro is silently smirking by his side, and Naruto thinks about their earlier conversation. After a friendly conversation and a lunch together with all the 𝐫𝐸, they go their separate ways. Once Naruto and Kayashiro were alone in their room, Naruto sat down on the table. So this kid, he prompts. Kayashiro frowns thoughtfully. Don't know much about him, but I saw him in passing after the talk with Lady 𝐫𝐸𝐻. Naruto gives him a serious look at the mention of her name. Kayashiro shakes his head as if to clear his thoughts, and Naruto decides to concentrate on the subject at hand. So why is this kid so special? You'll know it when you meet him, Kayashiro said, and Naruto knew that meant Kayashiro already had their people following the kid. How old is the kid? 3, maybe 4. Naruto nods slowly, assuming that this kid has a guardian dash. Single mother. Maybe we can meet her over dinner? Kayashiro shakes his head. No. Dinner is with Lady 𝐫𝐸𝐻 to discuss a possible alliance. Naruto chuckles, and he agreed? Of course he did. It's not surprising at all, Naruto says when Kayashiro nods. Naruto can see the way Kayashiro grits his teeth while talking about 𝐫𝐸𝐻. And I think you have a meeting with Tsubasa? This time Kayashiro is the one who diverts the conversation. Naruto's eyes widened. Oh crap, I totally forgot about that guy. I was so caught up with all of this that You know what? I'll meet with Tsubasa right now, if he's free. Kayashiro nods, and with a puff of smoke, a small fox appears on his lap. With sunset orange fur and hazel eyes, it is an adorable little thing. Kayashiro gently pets it for a moment, and the fox yips in a content greeting. Then its eyes flicker over to Naruto, and Naruto chuckles when the fox yips excitedly at him. Nice to see you again, little one, Naruto said softly. Kayashiro chuckles. Kit, I need you to bring Tsubasa here. The fox bobs its little head and vanishes in another puff of smoke after some more yips at Naruto. I am starting to think that my kids like you more than me, Kayashiro mutters with a fake pout. Don't be sad, Kyo. They're just acknowledging that I am the more handsome one. Naruto cooed at Kayashiro with amusement. Kayashiro smirks mockingly. Or maybe it's because you're the one with all the maternal instincts. Kayashiro catches the paperweight thrown at his head easily and chuckles. Says the guy with the girly hair. Naruto grumbles good-naturedly, both of them enjoying their little banter. You saying you hate my hair? Kayashiro asks with a scoff. Hate it? Naruto asks, licking his lips, remembering all the reasons he loved that hair. I fucking love it, babe. Kayashiro smirks. But Naruto drawls, that doesn't make it any less girly. Kayashiro stands up from his position on the armchair and approaches Naruto, intent on showing exactly who the girly one is, but then the fox kit is back with Tsubasa in tow. I hope I didn't interrupt anything. Tsubasa looked at them both curiously. Kayashiro kept a blank face and retreated to his armchair, while Naruto smirked at him. "Have a seat, Tsubasa." As the man sat down in the offered seat, he spoke. "We postponed the search since you didn't give a new order." Naruto nodded. "Don't wait any longer and start the search today." Tsubasa frowned. "And what about the clan compounds?" Naruto shook his head. "The clan compounds can wait. We will wait until the matches are over to start the search on them. That way we can have free access to the compounds without any risk of being caught." "Yes, Naruto-sama." Kayashiro frowned thoughtfully. "Tsubasa, I want you to monitor each compound more carefully now. Once the matches are over, the compounds will be evacuated of their current residence as well as their personal belongings. Make sure that those personal belongings don't include what we are searching for." Tsubasa nodded. "That would be wise." Naruto looked confused. "Kyo, I don't think anyone even know about their existence. Just to be sure, we can keep an eye on it, Naruto. Better safe than sorry." Naruto nodded. "Is there anything else, Naruto-sama? Kayashiro-sama?" Naruto shook his head and dismissed Tsubasa. Tsubasa was gone, just like he had arrived. Naruto turned to Kayashiro, who was sitting there with the little fox in his arms. He was slowly petting it and giving it snacks. He smiled and moved towards them. They spent some time just relaxing and playing with the fox kid. That's when Kayashiro tensed. "Well, looks like we will be meeting the kid and his mother now. They're here?" Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. He tried to sense what Kayashiro was sensing, and among the mass of chakra signatures, one felt different. A familiar kind of different. Naruto's eyes widened slightly in surprise. "I take it that you sense the kid?" Kayashiro asked, already knowing the answer. "I thought he didn't have any kids yet." Naruto said, perplexed. "By the records, he doesn't. A secret lover and kid, then? But our spies would have found out if that was the case." Naruto asked. "I won't bet on that. She loves the kid, but something tells me that the sperm donor is not that much appreciated." Naruto hummed thoughtfully. "You wish to meet them now?" Kayashiro asks. It would not be difficult, seeing as the kid and his mother was at the cafe just across the road from their housing. Naruto shakes his head. "No, not yet. I don't enjoy walking in blind, so we'll gather whatever we could about them first." Kayashiro nodded approvingly, still petting the fox kit absent-mindedly. "I'll send some guys right away." Meanwhile, Kayashiro couldn't finish that sentence because he got a call from Ibara inviting them to some sort of party with the other dignitaries. They sighed and got ready for a long, annoying, and boring event. "How are they doing, Tsunade-sama?" Kurenai asked Tsunade, who just exited the ward after checking up on the defeated shinobi. None of them regained their consciousness yet, and they had no clear detail on what happened to them. Most of the sensei, jonin, and families were present looking for any details on their students/children. All of them turned to Tsunade, looking for some sort of information. Everyone's close family was present, but sadly for those with clans, most of their clans refused to come and see the ones that were defeated. Surprisingly, both Neji and Hinata were present for Hanabi. But a closer examination made it clear that the only reason Neji came here was for Hinata, who still cared about her misguided sister, not for Hanabi. Kakashi and Jiraiya were suspiciously absent, and she felt a little uneasy. Sasuke was absent as well, but that was no surprise. Everyone knew that the Uchiha didn't care about anyone else. All of them waited in anticipation for her to speak. Tsunade thought about her words carefully. "Tsunade-sama, how are they?" Asuma asked as he stood next to Kurenai. The pensive silence that Tsunade gave them was worrying. Finally, Tsunade said, "They're alive, and I believe that they would wake up in a day or two." In the end, Tsunade decided that that was the best answer she could give. Many sighed in relief, but only a few noticed Tsunade's frown. "Tsunade-sama, you aren't telling us everything," Inoichi said from his seat near his wife. Ino's mother was crying at the fate of her beloved daughter. After some contemplation, Tsunade sighed. It was not like keeping it a secret would change anything. "We aren't sure." "What?" Tsunade explained. "We aren't sure about the state of the shinobi inside. From the outside, they look fine, and the broken bones have all been realigned and put in a cast. They show no signs of internal bleeding, and their breathing and heartbeat checks out fine. Some of them might have a slight concussion that can be taken care of in a few days. Hanabi and Sakura suffered the most damage so far, and they would need to spend the next 3 months in the hospital if things don't change." "Why so long?" Shikaka questions. "Our healers are capable of healing them completely in a shorter time. That's the problem," Tsunade says. "None of our chakra techniques works on them." Naruto turns around to face the one who addressed him. He already knew who was standing behind him. "Milady." Naruto let out an amused smirk. "You did well today, Naruto-kun," Yamane said with a sultry smirk. Naruto smirked right back at her. "I take it you enjoyed watching them." Yamane gave a demure giggle, but Naruto could sense the sadistic joy and sinister intent behind that smile. He smiled right back at her. "So, should we expect you tonight?" Naruto asks. Yamane looked at him with piercing violet eyes from under long lashes. "Of course, I did accept your invitation earlier. I just hope that you know what you were getting into." With one more coy smile, Yamane moved away from him, whispering to her guards. Naruto chuckled lowly. "Oh, I know exactly what I am getting into, Naruto-sama." Kirin slowly spoke up from beside him. Naruto looked at him, although his bodyguard wore that customary blank expression and his eyes were hidden. Naruto could very well sense his concern. "That woman," Kirin trailed of unsurely. Beside him, Ray had a similar frown. Naruto gave him an amused smile. "What is it, Kirin?" "Naruto-sama, there is something quite unsettling about that woman. We can sense some sort of dangerous aura from her presence alone." It was Ray who answered him in his stoic voice. "Are you worried that she would harm me?" "Naruto-sama, you're strong, and she or her people would never come even close to leaving a scratch on you. But we are concerned." Naruto laughs at Kirin's words, and then he smiles at them sincerely. "I understand your concerns, but let me take care of this one." Kirin and Ray nodded reluctantly. "Now, I want everything to be ready for tonight's meeting. She is more dangerous than you believe, and once she and her men enter the compound, I don't want any of them leaving without my permission." "What are you saying, Tsunade-sama?" Tsunade's eyes hardened. "I meant what I said. The mystical palm technique or any other medical technique doesn't work on them for whatever reason that we couldn't figure out. So most of the observations we made on the patients were using crude non-chakra methods, and such methods offer very less precision. So the conclusions I made are not 100% precise." "Why aren't they working?" Guy asked lowly. Tsunade sighs. "We don't know yet. We're trying every chakra healing technique we know, and they all get dispelled when used on them. It's like they're shielded from any and all external chakra techniques. We can't even do a scan to check out any damages to their chakra pathways. We even tried the 𝐫𝐞𝐽, but even that can't see past whatever is shielding them." There were several gasps all around, and Tsunade continues. "At this moment, all we can do is treating their injuries using non-chakra methods, and they take a much longer time than chakra healing methods. As far as we know, their body is healing as well as it can under these circumstances." Everyone sat there silently, not knowing what to say. Finally, it was Shikaku who broke the silence. "At least they're alive." Naruto sat in the armchair with his eyes closed and head tilted backwards and resting on the backrest. The party was over by sunset, and they spent the rest of the time taking care of some other things. Now the time for the dinner with Yamane was near. "They're here." Naruto opened his eyes to look at Kayashiro, who was leaning against the door frame. Naruto stood up silently and walked out, followed by Kayashiro. Naruto could feel the chakra pulsing beneath his skin like a caged beast trying to snap free. He knew Kayashiro felt just as anxious. The both of them entered a giant hall bare of any other furniture. Yamane and 3 other men were already there. She had an amused smirk on her face, like she had everything under control, and it only amused Naruto. "Naruto," Yamane purred out in greeting, taking a step forward towards him. Naruto moved forward slowly. "I admit that this is a pretty face, but why don't you take Yamane out of the equation and show me your real form?" Yamane chuckled. "So you do know." Her chuckles turned into a full-blown laugh as her skin started shriveling up. It then peeled off to reveal sickeningly pale skin underneath, and yellow eyes replaced violet ones. Naruto didn't react once Orochimaru's form came into view. The white skin had scales at some parts, and Naruto wasn't surprised given what he knew. "Glad to see me, Naruto-kun?" Orochimaru lisped in snake-like voice. Naruto was silent. From the corner of his eyes, Orochimaru noticed the shadows from the corners moving and stretching. His eyes narrowed when all of a sudden 8 individuals emerged from the shadows. They were all wearing black cloaks, just like the one Kayashiro was currently wearing. The individuals arranged themselves behind Naruto, with Kayashiro standing directly behind Naruto and 4 others on each side. Orochimaru stared at Naruto with a condensing smirk. "I hope you aren't trying to intimidate me with the 9 bijou, Naruto-kun." Naruto shook his head like he was talking to some petulant kid. You know as well as I do that no human could ever recognize the Bijou while they're in their human form. And you just proved that you're not human. Orochimaru's eyes widened slightly, and he cursed internally from that slip-up. But it didn't matter anyway. Orochimaru doesn't speak, and Naruto starts circling him. The look in his eyes is calm and bored, but Orochimaru feels like a prey. You know, Orochimaru, I found out some interesting information about you. Oh, and what would that be, Naruto-kun, besides the fact that I am a demon? Orochimaru scoffs. Naruto stops directly behind Orochimaru. I know who you are, Amon, so you found out? I was really hoping that you actually did want an alliance. Orochimaru speaks in a more thickly demonic voice. What are you going to do about it, my lord? He mocks. Oh wait, you're no lord. You rejected the position as the demon lord, so that worthless mate of yours could remain as the lord, didn't you? Orochimaru sneers. Faster than Orochimaru could blink, there was 7 chakra chains piercing through him. Orochimaru chuckles. You think you caught me? Think again, Lord Naruto, and his body turns to mud. Naruto glares at the puddle of mud at his feet. He looks to the side to see that the 3 minions Orochimaru brought with him already dead at Shikaka's hands. Directly beneath the mud, a seal lights up and Naruto grins viciously. Why don't we pay dear old Amon a visit? Orochimaru sat in his underground lair thinking about the plans to destroy Konoha. Kabuto walked into the room, only to find that Orochimaru's eyes narrowed all of a sudden. Orochimaru-sama, my clone just got destroyed. I wonder what happened. Orochimaru murmurs. Kabuto, lock up the compound and tighten the security. I have a bad feeling about this. Kabuto nods and leaves the room quickly. Orochimaru is surprised when Kabuto returns to the room, not even 10 seconds later. Kabuto, what is it? Kabuto looks nervous and Orochimaru knows that it's something serious. Orochimaru-sama, every one of our shinobi are dead. Orochimaru's eyes widen. What? How can that be? I don't know, Orochimaru-sama, and all the experiments are missing as well. There are no sign of enemies. We need to get out of here. Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru nods hastily. Whoever can take out every one of his shinobi right under his nose without him knowing had to be handled with caution. I don't think you'll be going anywhere. Orochimaru turns around at the voice to find Naruto standing causally leaning against the wall. Naruto, what brings you here? How did you find this place? Orochimaru hisses. Naruto raises an eyebrow. I admit that you're very good at hiding. Every lead we had on you, we end up facing one of your clones. No one could track this place either. Nice work hiding, but then I did a little homework and came up with a seal that could track you down using your clone's chakra. It was pretty easy after that. What do you want, Naruto? Orochimaru asks spitefully. You know your clone was quite rude to me and my mate Amon, so we decided to pay a visit. Naruto says, and Orochimaru looks around to see that he is surrounded by 9 cloaked figures. Kabuto is standing silently, eyeing all of them with caution. So you found out. Orochimaru snarls. He's trapped, and he knows it. What are you going to do about it? You have a lot to pay for Amon, for what you did to Kayashiro's first mate and children, to my parents, to all those children you experimented on, to my Gigi, and to Orochimaru, whose body you're currently possessing. Naruto says. Amon snarls again, and he looks frantic and crazed. Amon turns to face the speaker, and Kayashiro is standing before him, eyes red and demonic features on full display. Amon sneers. You think you can defeat me? You fool. You're no longer who you used to be. You don't have the power you used to. I will be the one ending you, just like how I did with that vixen and kits of yours. Kayashiro's restraints snap audibly, and he pounces. Skin rips apart, and the next moment Amon in Orochimaru's body is buried under a 10-foot-tall 9-tailed fox. Naruto sees Kabuto trying to attack, but before he has a chance to do anything, Matatabi pounces on the man. She has already changed into her bijou form of a 12-foot-tall 2-tailed cat made of blue lightning. Amon avoids Kayashiro's snapping jaws and shifts away. Orochimaru's body begins rippling, and a reptilian tail emerges from behind him, and his skin becomes completely scaled. Amon tries to attack Kayashiro, but the fox is better at evading the snake's fangs and clawing up the snake even more. Kabuto already lay dead at Matatabi's feet. So Matatabi joins Naruto and the others in watching Kayashiro tear Amon apart. Because that's what it is. Amon had no chance against Kayashiro. Amon gets thrown around, And in the end, Orochimaru's body is broken and bleeding. 𝐫𝐤𝐵 stalks towards the downed demon with vengeance. This was the demon that killed his beautiful first mate and his newborn kits, and he deserved to die the most gruesome death. Amon crawls backward in fright. "Mercy, please show mercy. I admit defeat." Naruto raises an eyebrow. "This was pathetic. You deserve no mercy," Naruto says, because 𝐫𝐤𝐵 is beyond words right now, and the only things that come out of his mouth were growls and snarls. Amon turns towards Naruto. "Please, my lord, have mercy. Tell your mate to spare me." "And why would I do that?" Naruto says mockingly. "Because." Amon is frantically searching for a reason, and finally, he says, "Because if your mate continues, then Orochimaru will die." Almost all of them scoff at him. Amon shakes his head frantically. "Believe me, I am telling the truth. He's still in there, he's still alive." Matatabi is the one who speaks up. "Oh please, you have possessed him for almost 4 decades. There is no way his soul is still sustained. No human can survive a demonic possession for all those years." All of them agree, but Naruto is silent, and Amon looks at him. "You know I am telling the truth, don't you?" "He is," Naruto says after some time. Amon sighs in relief when 𝐫𝐤𝐵 steps back from him. 𝐫𝐤𝐵 wants Amon dead, but he couldn't kill Orochimaru, who was a victim in this as well. Amon hides a smirk when 𝐫𝐤𝐵 growls in frustration. "You can't kill me without killing Orochimaru too." Amon says smugly, "You're a kitsune. You would never intentionally hurt innocents." "Oh, don't worry, Amon. I can remedy that quite quickly." Naruto smirks and steps forward. Amon feels fear crawl up his spine when Naruto crouched down beside him. This will hurt a lot. Naruto's hands glow a bright green color, and he places his hands on Orochimaru's chest. Amon panics when the hands sink into his chest as if they are intangible. "No!" Amon screams when Naruto grabs a hold of something inside him and tugs it outward. A loud wailing fills the room, but it is not coming from Orochimaru's mouth. Orochimaru's face is relaxed, and his eyes closed in unconsciousness. The ghostly specter in Naruto's hands is screeching in indefinite pain. Naruto smirks and throws it to the other side of the room. "Make him suffer, Kyo," Naruto says, and then he turns back to Orochimaru. In a flash of fire, Naruto and the rest of the Bijuu disappear with Orochimaru, leaving Amon and 𝐫𝐤𝐵 to their fun. "Saiken, I need your help," Naruto mutters, placing glowing green hands over Orochimaru's chest. They had teleported themselves to great distance away from Amon and 𝐫𝐤𝐵. Saiken, the six-tailed slug, nods and moves towards him and does the same as Naruto. Naruto curses when Orochimaru's heart stops again. The glow of their hands grows brighter, and the heart starts beating once more. What Naruto did was a risky move. In fact, it was downright stupid move now that Naruto thought about it. He was too caught up on having his revenge and finishing of Amon that he didn't think about what would happen to Orochimaru. Naruto had literally ripped Amon out of Orochimaru's body, and that will leave some heavy damages on Orochimaru's soul. Not to mention the fact that the changes Amon's yokai had done to Orochimaru's body were now working against him. The disruption in the coils was preventing the healing. Naruto pursed his lips in thought. There was only one thing he could think of that could fix this. He cannot let Orochimaru die, because that man was innocent. It wouldn't be fair if Orochimaru had to pay for the crimes that Amon had done while possessing him. In fact, he was pretty sure that if Orochimaru woke up with an intact mind, he would have no memory of the events past his 40th birthday. This was a big mess. But if the man had struggled against a demonic possession and survived this long, it wouldn't be fair to let him die like this. "Mata-chan! Mata-chan! Look at this! What is it, Chome?" Matatabi looked at the younger tailed beast. Chome was pointing towards the distance where Orochimaru's underground base was. Matatabi looked and saw a 70-foot-tall white snake break out of the ground. "Well, it's a good thing that we moved this far," Isubu remarks dryly. Son Goku, who was keeping an eye on Naruto and Saiken up until that moment, came to stand beside them and watch. Just then, 𝐫𝐤𝐵 in his fox form jumps out of the earth and grows bigger until he matches the snake in size. The fight was brutal and long. However, by the end, they all see 𝐫𝐤𝐵 standing victoriously over the pleading snake. Suffice to say, 𝐫𝐤𝐵 had no reason to stop this time. That was boring. 𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐼risEvergreen as 𝐫𝐲 Matatabi scoffs at 𝐫𝐞. Like you could have done any better. 𝐫𝐞𝐬 glares at his elder sibling. They all turn back to look at Naruto and 𝐸 and is surprised to see that they aren't there. They ditched us, Chome says. 𝐫𝐲's gonna be pissed that his mate didn't see his badass fight with the snake. 𝐫𝐞 grins. Matatabi turns to look at where 𝐫𝐲 used to be, only to find him gone too. Oh, so he ditched us too. 𝐫𝐞 whines. They all shake their head at him and vanish with their own teleportation. Tsunade walked into the council chambers lost in thought. The fools in the council had suddenly decided for a meeting and requested her immediate presence. From experience, Tsunade knew that they just wanted her there to sign on whatever decision they already had reached. Being Hokage was just another way of being the council's puppet. She wondered when she had let them get away with so much power. Just another one of her glorious mistakes, Tsunade sighed ruefully. Tobirama and Minato were the only Hokage who could have kept the council on a leash. But both of them were long gone. Maybe if he had some more time, Minato could have brought some changes to the corrupt council. Then again, if Minato had more time, a lot of things would have been different. Tsunade entered the council chamber without any preamble. The first thing she notes is that Kakashi and Jiraiya are both present, and the pensive frown on their faces means nothing good. She is silent and sharp as she sits down on her seat. The lack of her usual anger only made the room tenser. Tsunade raises an eyebrow at Danzo, silently asking him to speak. Danzo steps forward, and his grim expression didn't hide enough of his satisfaction. Tsunade Senju, you are declared unfit for the position of the Hokage. Tsunade stood up angrily. Her palms slammed down on the table with enough force that the table became a pile of splinters. On what ground am I unfit for my position? The council has no power over my Kage position. Tsunade glared at the smug-looking council members, and they trembled under her rage. Danzo shook his head slowly. The council has unanimously voted against you. The Anbu commander and third-in-command Kakashi Hatake, as well as second-in-command Sannin Jiraiya, have stated that you are not fit for duty under the current situation. You yourself appointed them as your second and third in command to the Kage position, and both of them have voted against you. Tsunade trembled in rage as she turned her gaze towards Jiraiya and Kakashi. They didn't meet her gaze, and Tsunade swallowed the venom boiling in her tongue. She wanted to lash out at them for betraying the trust she had placed in them, but she couldn't say that she had expected any better of them. Vaguely, she wondered whether what she felt now was even worth comparing to what Naruto must have felt all those years ago. Danzo continues on. The final decision was made based on the opinion of the majority. Tsunade's eyes narrowed as she looked at the council members present. How can that be when only half of the council is present? Where is the rest of the Shinobi Council? Danzo smirked. This is the Shinobi Council Tsunade, at least what's left of them. Tsunade opens her mouth to speak, but Danzo cuts her off. By the village rules, a representative from each clan, the Anbu commander, and the Sannin are what makes the Shinobi half of the council. As you can see, the Anbu commander, as well the remaining Sannin along with the clan representatives are here. Tsunade resists a scoff as she looks at the Shinobi half of the council. The only ones present were Jiraiya, Kakashi, that Uchiha brat, then Asuma as the Sarutobi clan head, and Shizen as the Senju clan representative since Tsunade was the Hokage. Seeing Tsunade's confused frown, Danzo explained. Konoha's rules specify that for a family to be registered as a clan, they need a clan compound. Without a clan compound, they cannot be a clan. Tsunade's eyes widened. Every member that was defeated today lost their clan compound and wealth to Naruto, and as a result, they lost their status as a clan as well. You need the daimyo's permission for this to be official. Tsunade said. He will be arriving shortly, Danzo said. Tsunade sat down back in the chair silently. All of them were confused when the angry woman suddenly turned silent. Jiraiya saw the look on Tsunade's face, and he knew that whatever happened next would be bad. Soon the daimyo arrived. Naruto and 𝐸 appeared inside their lab in Demon Country. The demons and humans working their turn to them in surprise. Naruto used his chakra to move Orochimaru's body into a chamber, all the while pumping a steady supply of his chakra to keep him alive. Naruto-sama, you can release him now, he is stable. Naruto nodded to 𝐸 and released his chakra from Orochimaru. What do you want me to do? Naruto-sama? 𝐸𝐼𝐼𝐻 asked, and Naruto turned to him frowning. As Naruto explained to 𝐸𝐼𝐻 what needed to be done, 𝐸𝐼𝐻 was surprised. But he didn't question his lord's actions. Once he was sure that everything was okay, Naruto left the facility. There was something he needed to take care of. Tsubasa and Iruka sat inside Naruto's place in Konoha stiffly. The both of them were waiting for Naruto to arrive. But it was Kayashiro who appeared before them. Iruka and Tsubasa both noted that Kayashiro looked at peace, somehow like a weight had been lifted off of his shoulders. "What's wrong?" Kayashiro asked, seeing their frowns. Tsubasa was the one who said it. "The council made a move, Kayashiro-sama." "More like Danzo made his move," Iruka scoffed. "What happened?" Kayashiro asked pensively. "There was council meeting soon after you left. Danzo managed to convince the entire council that Tsunade was no longer an acceptable Kage. So now there is a new Kage," Tsubasa said, scowling. Kayashiro raised an eyebrow. "A new Kage? The council doesn't have that kind of power." Iruka shook his head. "The council doesn't. But 2 years ago, Tsunade appointed Jiraiya as her second-in-command and Hatake as her third-in-command. Their combined opinions have the power to question the Kage's authority. They also had the daimyo present at the meeting, and the daimyo agreed?" Kayashiro asked, amused. "No," Tsubasa spoke. "He gave Shinji-san the choice." Iruka chuckled. "And she said that Konoha can go fuck itself because she no longer wants to lead this hellhole." Iruka truly enjoyed the show that Tsunade put on. He had made the right decision on spying on the meeting. Kayashiro chuckled. "So what? Jiraiya is the Kage now?" "No," Tsubasa and Iruka said with identical frowns. Kayashiro frowned at that. "Then who?" "Oh, it's that bastard, isn't it?" Iruka and Tsubasa's silence was answer enough. Naruto stood in a white, endless space. A woman with blood-red eyes and hair, with deep bronze skin, appeared before him. She bowed before Naruto. "Creator, what shall I do for you?" Naruto shook his head. "I am just passing through time. But tell me, have there been any disturbances? From the outside or inside, Creator?" Time asked curiously. "I'm talking about the one inside, Time." Time shook her head. "No, Creator, there have been no disturbances." Naruto nodded, and the white space gave way to a desert as he passed through the first defense of his mind. The second defense was desperation. Anyone who got past Time would be faced with desperation. Their bodies would be under desperation's control, and desperation would increase the body's metabolism to such a level that it starves their bodies. If the intruder ever got back into her body in time, it would be frail, hungry, and dehydrated. Desperation appeared before Naruto in the form of an old man with white hair and eyes with dark, wrinkled skin. Desperation too bowed before Naruto reverently. Naruto just nodded and repeated the questions he asked Time and received the same answers. The surroundings changed to a luscious forest as the third defense came into view. Huntress. Huntress materialized before him, with blonde hair and golden eyes like that of cats. She possessed sharp claws and fangs that made her look more beastly. Unlike the other two, Huntress didn't take over their bodies, but instead established a connection. Any intruder had to cross the forest to get to the next defense, but the forest was filled with beasts all under Huntress's control, and any wounds caused by the Huntress or the beasts inside the mind would be transferred to the bodies. Naruto passed through the third and fourth defense with the same questions and got the same answers. The fourth defense was eternity. This was also a time manipulation zone. It was so that only seconds passed inside the fourth defense while years passed outside, or the opposite can be done as well. If the mind of the intruder was trapped in eternity, escape would be difficult. Naruto would be in full control of his body, and the defense could also locate the body of the intruder that would be highly vulnerable. The fifth defense was irony. Even if you got past the Huntress and eternity, irony was a much stronger defense, and it would kick the intruder back to their bodies immediately. But the thing was that irony would lock the intruder's mind inside their bodies, so that the intruder will be in a perpetual coma, being able to experience everything but not being able to establish a connection with their body. Irony too answered that there had been no disturbances. The next three defenses were mental barriers without a representative form. Naruto came across the first barrier that looked like wood crisscrossing to make an impenetrable wall. Behind the barrier, Naruto could feel the chakra boiling. This was why he had so many mental defenses. It wasn't a matter of keeping intruders out, but it was a matter keeping the beast inside. Naruto crossed the 6th barrier and could immediately feel the pressure of the Jubi chakra. Luckily, its influence hadn't crossed over the 7th barrier. The 7th barrier looked a wall of ice. Naruto crossed over that one as well. Golden chakra kept lashing out in the form of tails. Naruto had to concentrate to keep it calm. This was getting more and more difficult as time went on. Naruto stepped through the 7th barrier. The 8th barrier was a brick wall that looked deceptively weak. Behind the 8th barrier was his mindscape. It looked like his home in Demon Country, with the library representing an archive of his memories. Normally, whenever Naruto entered the mindscape, he felt at calm, but now he felt too hot and annoyed, and he knew what or who was responsible for this. At the back of his house was a wooden door, looking insignificant next to the 8 defenses before it, but this door was the 9th defense. And this defense was the strongest of the 9. The door looked as perfect as ever, but white chakra leaked through the bottom of the door. Naruto growled, his anger fueled by the agitation present in the air. He opened the door and stepped inside and came face to face with a grinning, white-haired woman. "Hello, Naruto. I was waiting for you. Kagaya." Naruto growled out. Danzo leaned back in his chair with a satisfied smirk. Things went well in the end. He had expected Tsunade to put up a fight, but in the end, the woman had surprised him by rejecting the Hokage position. Everything was going in his favor. He needed to ensure that the Uzumaki brat lost the match. Sai was his trump card, yet he had been defeated so easily. Sure, the next set of ninjas fighting Naruto would be the more powerful ones, but that didn't really calm Danzo down. He needed assurance that even if they lost, things would be under his control, and that was standing right before him. "Why did you bring us here, Danzo?" Danzo looked at the people present in the room. The rest of the contestants that would be fighting Naruto tomorrow, along with the parents of those who were defeated. The only ones absent were the Hyuga clan representatives, but that can't be helped since they were very fond of Naruto these days. "As you know," Danzo began as he stood up, "Naruto has won 10 out of the 16 matches. We have lost the properties and wealth of 6 clans and 4 other shinobi. This is a great loss to Konoha. We cannot afford to lose any of the clan jutsu or their wealth. The compounds themselves are not that important." Sasuke interrupted, "But we haven't lost yet. The next match is between me and the dope. I will defeat him. We'll see how that goes." Danzo mocked. Sasuke growled, "Are you implying that I won't be able to beat that dope?" "I am implying that we should not risk it. We still have not figured out what happened to the hospitalized shinobi, and without knowing what exactly it is that Naruto is doing, we're walking in blind," Danzo said, sending a steely glare at Sasuke. "That is why I want all of you to transfer your clan funds to the village fund immediately and move the majority of your library to the village vault." There were murmurs among them, and then Shikaka spoke. "We can't do that. You can, and you will. Naruto does not have complete ownership until all the matches are over. And I want all of this done before the matches start tomorrow," Danzo said. "What if we disagree?" Asuma asked, stepping forward. "That is your choice, but with or without your permission it will be done," Danzo said. "You can't do that," Kurenai said. "Yes, that is very unyouthful," Guy said. "It is a matter of Konoha's survival. You think that we would have any chance in the coming war if we are broke by the end of these matches?" Danzo said, and this time none questioned him. Danzo ran his gaze over all the members present. "Of course, if one of you win the match, then the wealth and jutsu will be transferred back to where they belong. It should be done by midnight. My shinobi would be at your compounds to collect them. Remember, this is for the good of Konoha." Danzo watched as the shinobi left, all of them silently fuming. The chance that Naruto will defeat all of them was very less, but Danzo had a feeling that all of them were severely underestimating the Uzumaki. And besides, this is a grand opportunity to get his hands on all their clan jutsu. Why waste it? Even if one of them won, and he had to return the scrolls, by that time he would have all of them copied, and the clan funds would be significantly less. And if they didn't win, it was just a matter of getting Uzumaki killed before the final match. "What do you want, Kagaya?" Kagaya scoffed. "What do you think, Naruto?" Naruto growled and stepped up to her. "Stop it." Kagaya raised an eyebrow. "Stop what? What do you think I am doing?" "I mean, you have me locked up in your mind, and what do you think I am even capable of doing?" Naruto's hand curled around her neck, and he violently pushed her back. You think you could just rattle my instincts and sit back to watch the show? 𝐫𝐫𝐤 didn't even flinch when his eyes turned silver and claws cut through her skin. Instead, she remained calm. You need to calm down, Naruto. And trust me when I say that I have nothing to do with what you're feeling now. Bullshit, Naruto screamed. I haven't felt this agitated since I have attained control over your chakra. Now all of a sudden, I am craving blood. A fight? Feels like I need to rip someone to pieces. And you automatically thought that the conscience of the 𝐫𝐸 was the cause, didn't you? You foolish boy? 𝐫𝐸 giggled. Naruto slammed her into the wall and snarled, but 𝐫𝐸 remained unaffected. Now Naruto, this is no way to treat a lady. This only riled him up more, and he tossed her around like a rag doll. 𝐫𝐸 fought back, but Naruto kept attacking her. Finally, Naruto calmed down and took a deep breath. Feeling better? 𝐫𝐸 asked as she got up from the ground. Naruto narrowed his eyes. What's going on? He rasped. It took a moment for him to reel back from the mindless violence. He was censored. ING. Naruto looked down at his hands to see his claws shrinking back to human nails. His eyes and fangs became how they normally are. Believe it or not, I have nothing to do with this. This is all you. 𝐫𝐸 says. What are you saying? I have complete control, Dash. Yes, you do, and nothing has happened to your control, Naruto. If you had let me explain everything at the beginning instead of locking me up, you wouldn't be so confused right now. Naruto looked at her skeptically, causing 𝐫𝐸 to sigh. Okay, I admit I was a little insane in the beginning. Completely insane, 𝐫𝐸. You were completely insane, Naruto reminded. 𝐫𝐸 huffed. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. What you are feeling right now are just your instincts acting out on their own. It happens when you're a Bijuu. But don't worry, you're not going insane like me or any of the other Bijuu. Your Uzumaki chakra took care of that. Naruto sighed. Why is this happening now? Come on, Naruto. You're back among the people who betrayed and tortured you. You aren't as forgiving as you'd like others to think. You want more than anything else to rip them apart like paper and bath in their blood. Bask in the glory of their terror. 𝐫𝐸 sighed dreamily. That's what any Bijuu would have wanted. Naruto gritted his teeth. 𝐫𝐸's words only riling up his bloodlust. But you have an image to uphold, don't you? The benevolent leader, the kind-hearted, peace-loving fool. 𝐫𝐸 laughs out loud. We both know that if it wasn't for the thousands watching you in the stadium, there would be nothing left of your opponents. But alas, the poor monster has to act like the charming prince. A sadistic charming prince, but still. 𝐫𝐸 chuckles. All those suppressed desires are taking their toll on you, Naruto. You need to let those frustrations out somehow, but you can't kill those fools because you have an image to keep. And when you were facing that demon, you had to give the honor to your mate. Once again, denied the chance of revenge against the demon that had killed your precious Gigi. Naruto took a deep breath. It doesn't matter if it was Kyo who killed that snake. We're mates. We're one and the same. Besides, Kyo deserved to kill that bastard who took away his first mate and children. 𝐫𝐸 chuckles. So you say, but why lie, my boy? You regret not having the snake's blood spilled over your hands. You regret it no matter what you say. And then there's your mate. Yet another frustration. Kyo has nothing to do with my problem, Dash. Really? You mean to say that you're okay with the fact that you weren't the Kitsune's first mate? You're okay with the fact that he still loves, someone other than you? Even if that someone is dead, you're jealous. 𝐫𝐸 taunts. Naruto grits his teeth in anger. Kaishiro met Hades before he was even captured by the first Hokage. She and their kids died by Amin's hands a very long time ago. This all happened long before he met me, and I have no reason to be jealous. 𝐫𝐸 shrugs. You're right. You have no reason to be jealous, but that doesn't mean that you aren't. Naruto kept silent. 𝐫𝐸 looked at Naruto. Naruto, if you need to keep yourself in line during tomorrow's matches, then you have to find an outlet. You're a Bijuu, Naruto, and rage will always be your first nature. The more you deny it, the more difficult it becomes. In Demon Country, among the ones you loved and trusted, it wasn't a problem, but here among those you hate, it's entirely different. You denying yourself will only lead to an explosion. So find an outlet, or the non-violent image you're trying so hard to keep will be gone by tomorrow. Naruto nodded slightly. And don't worry about how possessive you feel about Kaishiro. It's just part of your nature, and I am sure Kaishiro understands it very well. Now leave me alone. I would like some peace and quiet. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the last line. 𝐫𝐸 huffed. What? I am not capable of violence alone. Sure, Naruto said sarcastically as he exited his mindscape. Oh, and I have to say that I love what you did in the matches. I would have preferred a little more blood and gore, but still I love what you did. Kagaya said as Naruto vanished from the mindscape. You were speaking with Kagaya? Kayashiro asked as soon as Naruto opened his eyes. Yes. Naruto stood up and went over to the mirror. How is she? Kayashiro asked. Much more sane than earlier, and we had quite a good conversation. Naruto huffed. Naruto looked at his reflection and watched as his eyes turned silver and then flickered back to its normal color. Kayashiro saw this as well. Are you having trouble with your control? Kayashiro sounded concerned, so Naruto gave him a reassuring smile. I am fine for now. You look like you have some news for me. Naruto tilted his head to the side. It seems that Tsunade is no longer the Hokage. Naruto raised an eyebrow in question, and Kayashiro continued, explaining what Iruka and Tsubasa had said. So, who's the new Hokage? Who do you think it is? Naruto chuckles, Danzo, that old coot. He shakes his head, but then Naruto stops and smirks as an idea presents itself to him. I think I have found my outlet. Kayashiro was confused. Outlet what? Naruto just smirks as he walks onto Kayashiro and gives him a kiss before leaving the room. Kayashiro couldn't help but chuckle when his mate's thoughts were projected to him. Well, I guess Danzo wouldn't be a problem anymore. Tsunade sat in her study thinking over what had happened earlier. She was no longer the Hokage of the village. Of course, she could have rejected the entire thing if she wanted to, and the daimyo would have listened to her. But what those traitors didn't know was that she had been looking for a way out for some time now. It wasn't like she was a good leader or anything. Tsunade scoffed at the thought. She wondered not for the first time whether this was how Naruto felt when his friends and so-called precious people abandoned him. But Tsunade knew what he felt must have been 1,000 times greater than this. After these matches are over, she wouldn't stay in this village a minute longer. She had a plan in mind. Danzo being the Hokage might cause some trouble, but Tsunade had the daimyo on her side, so she didn't have too much worry. She had no intention of fighting Naruto. She was going to forfeit, even if there was the slightest chance that she might when she wouldn't do it. Because her win meant that Naruto would lose and this wretched village would win. There was only one person who made the whole village worth it, and that person had been abandoned by the village. Now Naruto wanted nothing to do with the village, and Tsunade's only regret was that she hadn't understood him earlier. She had to talk to Naruto even if he never forgave her. She had to tell him how sorry she was. It would be a messy thing. She no longer had any delusions that Naruto would forgive her. But it had to be done. As she was lost in thought, her eyes fell on a book lying on the side table. Theory of Chakra Interaction by 𝐤𝐢𝐳 Yamakaze. She picked up the book. She remembered that this was the book she had specifically ordered from Demon Country. The latest edition and the most accepted theory of how jutsu actually worked. She had never gotten around to reading it. She remembered the ninja lying in her hospital. No healing jutsu working on them despite hours and hours of effort. Maybe this book would help her. As Tsunade read each page, her eyes widened. Then she chuckled, which soon turned into a full-blown laugh. Oh, Naruto, you sadistic brat. Well, at least now Tsunade can be assured that Naruto would win the matches. Danzo woke up in a dark room. No, it wasn't a room. It was just endless black space. His eyes narrowed. What is this? Behind the bandages, his Sharingan eyes spun furiously, trying to dispel a Jinjutsu that just didn't exist. If not a Jinjutsu, then what is this place? I'm not a fan of the whole monologue thing. So let's start, shall we? Danzo had no time to react to the disembodied voice before a fist buried itself in his gut with enough force to punch through a brick wall. Danzo coughed up blood and fell to his knees. There was a put-out sigh from the darkness before Naruto's figure could be seen appearing out of the empty black space. Look, Danzo, as I already told you, I don't like wasting time with monologues, so let's just try to kill each other already. Naruto glared. Uzumaki, you will dash. Pay for this blah blah blah, I know the whole spiel, so spare me. And I already know about your Sharingan eyes and Mokutan arm, so spare me the weak old man act as well. Danzo's eyes narrowed. I see. He stood up and straightened, looking like the punch earlier did not affect him any longer. Naruto smirked and felt a rush of excitement when the bandages fell away to reveal the stolen Sharingan eyes and the Mokuton arm. I'm going to enjoy tearing them out one by one. 𝐤𝐢𝐳𝐲 Mangekyo spun in Danzo's eye socket, and Naruto scoffed at Danzo's attempt at hypnotizing him. Then, Danzo disappeared from sight. Tsunade stood in front of Kayashiro with a glare. Kayashiro rolled his eyes at the woman's attempt at intimidating him, then sighed when Tsunade refused to take the hint that it wasn't working and kept on glaring at him. Senju-san, Naruto is not here, and as much as I would like to help you, I can't. I will not convince him to talk to you, because the truth is that I despise you all for how you treated him. Tsunade winced at that, but I am not unreasonable. I genuinely think that you have changed, but if you want to talk to Naruto, it will be his decision. Tsunade turned thoughtful, then, after a moment of silence, asked, "Do you know what he did to the other ninjas?" "I do. He took away their chakra." "I know," Kayashiro said. Then he added when he saw her open her mouth to speak, "And I won't tell you how he did it." Tsunade nodded without making a fuss. "You are not surprised that I figured it out?" Kayashiro scoffed. "We both knew that if anyone figured it out, it would be you. Naruto will speak with you, Tsunade, and I warn you not to waste the chance he gives you." Naruto knelt on the ground as Susanoo crushed down upon him. Danzo watched it all with a smirk. Naruto may have managed to overwhelm Danzo at first, but once Danzo released the heavy hitters, the foolish boy stood no chance. Danzo could see Naruto straining to not let the Susanoo crush him and laughed. "You honestly thought that you could defeat me? Even after knowing about my secrets?" "Yeah, I really do," Naruto answered nonchalantly, as if the chakra specter wasn't trying to turn him into a bloody pancake. Danzo frowned. "You are a fool, boy. So I have been told by many self-righteous assholes." Naruto looked up and winked when he met Danzo's eyes. Danzo growled and increased the power of his Susanoo. It was straining him too, but the sooner he ended this the better, Danzo thought. Naruto strained for a moment more before he suddenly relaxed and stood up, and the Susanoo was pushed back by the unexpected power. Danzo, with his Sharingan, saw the chakra that enveloped the blonde all of a sudden and was confused and frustrated. So the boy had an ace up his sleeve. Naruto stretched languidly and looked at Danzo before punching straight through the Susanoo, and to Danzo's horror, the Susanoo shattered and disappeared. "How dash! I must say, Danzo, I had thought that the first level would be enough for you. I didn't want it to be too easy for me after all," Naruto said, "but you managed to push me to my second level? That's impressive. You should know." "Level?" Danzo asked cautiously. Naruto looked too carefree, as if this wasn't a battle to the death, and somehow Danzo knew that to Naruto, this wasn't even a battle at all. "I keep my powers locked in levels, you know, and you just managed to push me past level 1. How many levels do you have?" Danzo asked and wished he hadn't when he heard 8,000. Then all Danzo knew was the pain. Tsunade walked towards the stadium. There were still a few more hours before sunrise, and she didn't know what to do with the time. She had already decided not to fight. At first, it was because she didn't want to defeat Naruto. Now she could admit that it was because she was afraid of her facing the same fate as those who fought Naruto before. What was a shinobi without chakra? Even Lee, who prided in not using ninjutsu indirectly, depended on chakra. Tsunade had spent so many years in perfecting her skills that the loss of them sounded worse than death at the moment. She sighed when she recognized her teammates' chakra coming towards her. "What were you doing with the 𝐸𝐸𝐽?" Tsunade looked at Jiraiya with narrowed eyes. "I went to see Naruto." And Tsunade rolled her eyes, but went with the questioning anyway, because fighting sounded too exhausting right now. The tiredness wasn't physical, and all she wanted was to rest. "He wasn't there, so I didn't get to see him." "Tsunade." There was a warning in Jiraiya's voice, and Tsunade idly wondered when it had come to this between them. She was about to tell Jiraiya about what exactly Naruto did to the other shinobi. The information could be helpful, and besides, he was her former teammate after all. Then she sighed when she remembered what said former teammate had done for her earlier. Despite that, no shinobi deserved what Naruto would do to them tomorrow. So maybe she should tell him. "Look, Tsunade, I know about the soft spot you hold for Naruto. I mean, I do too, but what you're doing now is treason." That surprised Tsunade out of her thoughts. "Treason? What the hell did I do?" Jiraiya glared at her as he spoke. "I know you went there to warn him about Danzo's decision." "No, I didn't." But Jiraiya wasn't listening. He had come to his own conclusions about her leaking all their plans to Naruto. That's what finally did it. It was petty, but she had enough of this bullshit. Tsunade turned and walked away. Jiraiya would only know what Naruto could do after Naruto was done with him. "How many lives do you have left, Danzo?" 1. Naruto asked from where he stood above a battered Danzo. Danzo was in no form to fight back. Crumbled on the floor with every bone bent the wrong way. Naruto crouched next to Danzo. Danzo was growing a sense of desperate when he understood that this might be the end of him. "I'm a Kage. If you kill me, there will be dash." Already taken care of, Danzo. You can't kill me. I'm pretty sure it's not all that difficult. The scrolls. Naruto frowned, slightly confused. What scrolls? Danzo swallowed. Maybe the demon will let him go if he offered the scrolls. The clan scrolls. All of them have been moved, and only I know where they are, and if you kill me, dash. Naruto's eyes sparkled with mirth as he said, "Again, I asked Danzo, what scrolls? Because your secret root facility and everything it contained is burning down to ashes as we speak." Danzo's eyes widened. "You stole the scrolls." Naruto rolled his eyes at that. "No, I burned them. Do you really think I need them anyway?" No. Danzo didn't think he'd need them, because Naruto was a god in his own right. And what would he need scrolls for? But if what he said was true, every clan scroll from the time of the first Hokage was gone. Was this all about revenge? You didn't want anything other than revenge? Initially, no. Then along the way, if I got some payback, then no one can blame me. Naruto shrugged. My plans for Konoha never included this, Danzo. This, he spread his arms, you all brought upon yourself. With that, Naruto stood up and straightened his sleeves, which was unnecessary since he looked as pristine as ever. This will be the end, Danzo? Danzo nodded, something like acceptance settling in his eyes, and Naruto admired that. Are you going to destroy the village? Naruto thought about it for a moment. The village? No. Despite what you all think, I am not that much of a monster. Danzo nodded and stood up for the final fight. Naruto arrived just in time for the matches to start. The stadium was already filled, and the Kage were also present, all except Danzo. Kaishiro sat down at the Kage area talking with Gaara. Where is Danzo? Jiraiya frowned. He should be here by now. Something's wrong. I believe you are worrying unnecessarily, Jiraiya-sama, Kakashi said. Jiraiya shook his head. No, Kakashi. Look, there he is. Jiraiya looked up and saw Danzo enter the Kage area. Danzo greeted every Kage politely, which made some of them suspicious. That old coot was never this polite for anything. Danzo sat down next to Kaishiro. Kaishiro leaned forward slightly so that only Danzo could hear him speak. Don't be that polite. Danzo gave a small frown, and then his face smoothed down into his customary scowl, and he asked Kaishiro. Better? Kaishiro nodded. Much. Naruto looked at his mate before turning to face his first opponent for the day. Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto wondered if this fight was ever going to start. Sasuke just stood there trying to guard Naruto with petty words that would have worked. 12 years ago, Naruto tilted his head to the side in a confused manner when Sasuke said, "Just because you defeated the rest of the rookies doesn't mean that you will win this fight, dope." Then he smirked. I'll try not to harm you much, especially that pretty face of yours. Naruto looked amused at the taunting. I remember that you didn't used to be this much talkative. Must be a new skill you've acquired. Naruto chuckled. Personally, I like it when you stay silent. Easier to ignore you that way. Sasuke glared at the blonde. Naruto watched Sasuke activate his Sharingan right away. Sasuke made the first move rushing at Naruto at Jonin level speeds and engaged him in taijutsu battle. But for some reason, even with the Sharingan's ability to predict the enemy's movements, Sasuke couldn't predict Naruto. This was more humiliating due to the fact that Naruto wasn't using any fancy taijutsu styles, or any style at all. He was just dodging. Naruto dodged a strike fluidly and watched as Sasuke moved back before he could reciprocate. Sasuke now understood that close range with Naruto was not a wise move and followed a hit-and-run tactic. It was effective only because Naruto didn't seem interested in moving from where he stood. Naruto's casual stance and the bored look were insulting, but Sasuke forcefully kept calm. Sasuke made 3 shadow clones, and the 4 of them together attacked the blonde with the same tactic, forcing the blonde to deal with at least 2 attacks at the same time and continuing the attack relentlessly. Throwing ninjutsu and taijutsu at Naruto with extreme accuracy. Insufferable personality aside, the Uchiha was not half bad. No match for Naruto or Kaishiro or Danzo or... yeah, no match for a lot of people, but still not bad. Over and over, Naruto dodged every one of Sasuke's and clone's attacks. Sasuke's Sharingan didn't help much, and Naruto wasn't retaliating at all. "Is that all, Sasuke?" "No." Sasuke smirked. Naruto's lips twitched, and he moved just in time that another clone welding a sword missed by a hairbreadth. This time Naruto retaliated with a single strike that dispelled the clone. "You thought I didn't know that you were trying to distract me?" Sasuke smirked. "I think it worked." Naruto shook his head amused. "No, it didn't." Naruto kicked off of the ground, and Sasuke, who was trying to sneak up on the blonde with the Chidori, was left floundering and was rewarded by a swift kick to the side of his head courtesy of Naruto's clone. Sasuke dodged at the last second. Naruto had noticed right away at the beginning that Sasuke had made 5 clones and hid one away while another replaced him. Naruto noticed the flickering of chakra spreading over the atmosphere and recognized it as a Sharingan Genjutsu. Useless. Naruto landed next to his clone, and simultaneously both of them shot forward and dispelled all 4 clones, and throwing Sasuke back with a punch. Sasuke flipped mid-air and vanished. Naruto didn't even bother, and his clone punched the earth, forcing Sasuke out. Sasuke retreated, and instead of following up on the attack like Sasuke expected, the dobe just stayed back and watched, waiting for his next move. Naruto was letting him decide the pace of the match. Sasuke found that it was insulting, but he could take advantage of it. Sasuke took out his sword. Raikiri blade. The sword sparked and glowed. The sound of birds filled the stadium. The Konohans watched smugly as their precious Uchiha used his prized technique. Naruto shook his head when Sasuke rushed at him. He should have already figured out that close-range attacks would be a waste on Naruto. The blade descended on Naruto with unbelievable speed, and the crowd gasped in surprise. Naruto stood there nonchalantly, the still glowing sword caught with his right hand. Sasuke stared at him horrified, and Naruto smirked. Gulping, Sasuke vanished, but for some reason his sword remained with Naruto. Naruto smiled darkly and held the sword with both arms. Snap! The Kusanagi, said to be forged the rarest of metals, the sharpest blade in existence, now lay in pieces at Naruto's feet. Sasuke stumbles in disbelief despite all the training he had acquired in not getting distracted during fights. The contestants' box only contained the Jonin Sensei and the remaining Sannin. All the other rookies were still in the hospital. Tsunade was enjoying watching the show. She openly smirked at the scowl adorning both Jiraiya and the other's face. She observed the Jonin Sensei. She knew that Jiraiya and Kakashi were set in their ways and had no plan on giving up. Guy was the same, but only because he was doing this for his village. As much as he hated doing it, he would follow his orders. Asuma and Kurenai were different. Both of them wanted to quit, but with Danzo as the Hokage, quitting now would only earn them more punishment in the future. He hoped that Naruto wouldn't be too rough on them. After all, they had done nothing when compared to the rest of them. Tsunade turned back to look at the match. Once the shock of seeing his precious sword snapped like a twig passed, Sasuke attacked with a renewed fervor. Sasuke was using every technique he had, yet it was useless against Naruto. Naruto smirked. "You done already? This is boring, Sasuke. Maybe I should have left you with Orochimaru. That way you might at least be a little more challenging." Naruto sighs and mocks sadness. "This is so sad." Sasuke glared at the blonde in hatred, and then he smirked. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he saw Sasuke going through the next set of hand signs and slam his palm to the ground. 𝐫𝐞𝐽 no Jutsu. Naruto was curious when a black serpentine creature appeared on the arena. It almost the size of a horse. A demon? Naruto's face contorted angrily, and Sasuke's smirk widened. The demon shifted in forms and took its human form. In the middle of the arena stood a very beautiful man. He had jet black hair long enough to brush the floor, and it was tied in a top knot with the strands weaved together in an intricate braid. His skin was pale, and eyes the same color of his hair. Naruto noted the look of triumph on Sasuke's face. "That fool! Does he really think that this will help him? It's nice to finally meet you in person, Naruto-san." The demon hissed with a smile. No one could understand the words of the man as he was speaking in the demonic tongue. Naruto smiled genially as he replied in the demonic tongue as well. "I wish I could say the same, but you have defied the law by making a contract with a human." The dragon demon bowed mockingly. "Forgive me for my insolence, Lord Naruto. I heard that some humans were fighting you, and I thought that I may provide some aid. Otherwise, you have to admit that it would a very unfair match." "Demon, I didn't summon you to chit-chat with him. Attack! Sasuke growled. He swallowed 3 chakra pills and felt a subsequent boost in his chakra. That will have to do for now. He didn't miss the familiarity that the demon showed to Naruto and understood that the demon hadn't been entirely honest with him. The armrest of Kayashiro's seat splintered, calling the attention of the other Kages to him. That is a demon? Mei asked. Kayashiro nodded stiffly. What law is Naruto talking about? Gaara asked curiously. Kayashiro sighed. When Naruto became my mate and subsequently a demon lord, our plan was to clean up the demon world. Kayashiro didn't mention Naruto's other plans. Friends, they may be, but they didn't need to know Naruto's entire plan. But they knew that Naruto was no longer human. It was not a hidden fact to any of the allies of Demon Country. There was an old law that gave demons permission to enter and abuse the human realm freely. Kayashiro thought about Amon, who had escaped to the human realm and possessed Orochimaru. We wanted to rectify that. So, we made a law to forbid any unauthorized entry of demons into the human realm. Part of the law was that no demon may create a contract with a mortal without acknowledgement of one of the 10 lords. And I know for a fact that he, Kayashiro sneered at the reptile demon, doesn't have any of our permission. What is the punishment for breaking that law? Kintsuchi asked. Death, of course, Kayashiro said with a bloodthirsty smile. Then why is he going against the law? Kayashiro sighed. Not everyone accepted the new laws quietly. So far, we haven't resorted to violence yet, and some demons are under the impression that it makes us weaker. Our reputation is not helped by the fact that 9 of us used to be sealed into mortals and Naruto used to be mortal himself. Some are under the impression that they will make a better ruler than us. The Kage shook his head at their foolishness. Well, I know that Naruto will make the ending of this fool a warning for the rest. The demon paid no mind to Sasuke's command. Sasuke was enraged. The creature had reached out to him the day the matches were announced. It said that it wanted to go against the jailer of the almighty Kyuubi and was willing to create a contract with him. Sasuke was sure that the creature had some other intentions, but the opportunity was not one to be wasted, so Sasuke agreed. Now hearing the creature's conversation with Naruto, even if he couldn't understand what they were saying, it was obvious that it hadn't told Sasuke the entire truth. But now was not the time or place to contemplate that. Sasuke growled angrily at the demon. It seems my summoner is getting impatient, the demon drawled. I believe it's time we start fighting. Naruto nodded. I believe so too. The demon looked at Sasuke and nodded once, then changed into its demonic form. Naruto watched as Sasuke climbed on top of it, and then majestic wings spread out from the demon's back, and it took flight. Naruto shook his head and moved his hand. Golden chains erupted from everywhere across the stadium. The demon cursed and dodged a few, but the rest ensnared its limbs and strangled its wings. The demon roared, and Sasuke tried to remove the chains and failed. The chains tightened, and the demon's body exploded into black flames. Sasuke landed on the ground cursing. To people who didn't know who it was Sasuke had summoned to fight was not all that much. But to those who did, Naruto was fighting one of the demons that opposed the rule of the 10. Naruto knew the fight wasn't over, so he was more than prepared when the demon appeared behind him. He reached out and grabbed a hold of its neck. Naruto would have preferred not to show this much power, but this was a necessity. This was a warning to those he could sense hiding among the audience. Sasuke charged, seeing that the blonde was preoccupied, but he had forgotten the clone in all the commotion, which resulted in him kissing the ground courtesy of the clone. Naruto released level 30 of his power as the demon escaped his hold and retreated. The pressure exerted by the amount of chakra released was immense, and the audience began to sweat. Sasuke couldn't keep his Sharingan active. The chakra around Naruto was visible to even normal people, and looking at it with a dojutsu was painful. He escaped the clone and hid, trying to bid time until he could activate his dojutsu again. This time he was going to use the Mangekyo. It would also help if the blonde was tired from his fight with the demon, so Sasuke hid and looked for an opening, which he never got thanks to the clone. Naruto was giving the demon the beatdown of his life. If the demon thought he had a chance at winning when Naruto wasn't going past level 1, at level 30, any and all chances were obliterated. Even the demon knew that, evident by the fact that Naruto had ripped out both its wings and broken 2 of its other limbs. He was crawling now. Let this be a warning to all those who think that they can oppose us. Naruto spoke in a strange language the humans couldn't understand, but it was heard by everyone. Only the demons who were watching the match could understand the demonic tongue. The demon who was about to be killed as Naruto prepared the killing blow chuckled. "You fool! You may kill me now, but now that you have shown your full power, I know that there are others who could and would beat you. You're strong, I admit, stronger than me, but I know others stronger than you. So, go ahead, kill me. You and your Bijuu will be joining me soon in Makai." Naruto chuckled at the false bravado. "You think this is my full power?" The demon frowned at that. Naruto lifted his head and looked at the audience. He saw the demons hiding in between the humans and watching the fight. All of them here to see his demise. "I'm not even using a quarter of it yet." Then he released all 1,000 levels of his power. The power was suffocating, and even the most oblivious person couldn't stop from crying out at the feel of it. It only lasted a second. A blink, and the power disappeared like it was just their imagination. But the message had been delivered. Naruto looked down at the demon whose eyes had widened in horror and awe and fear. Naruto saw how the demon shuddered, and he saw the fear that was settling in. The demon closed his eyes, expecting a killing blow, but it never came. "This is your one and only warning. Only because I do not want to use violence to achieve obedience. But know that my mercy extends only so far." The demon was speechless. Naruto let go of it and straightened. His eyes roamed over every part of the stadium. "Leave this realm and go back to your own. Do not test me." Every demon who had come expecting the defeat of the new lord knew that the warning was for them, and we're thankful for the mercy given. Naruto felt the presence of the demons vanishing as the portals opened, and they left for their home. He looked down at the demon he had caught, who was still just sitting there. Naruto raised an eyebrow when the demon stood up and bowed. "When I came to defeat you, I had thought that you were unfit to lead our kind, that you are weak, but you have proved me wrong. You are not only powerful, but a merciful leader as well. Today you spared my life, and from this day on I swear a life debt to you. I and any hatchlings I will produce will follow you, protect you, and die for you if necessary. Please accept my life debt." Naruto was silent for a moment before he said, "What is your name?" "I am 𝐫𝐞𝐻 of Ishlon, Lord of the Dragons." "𝐫𝐞𝐻 of Ishlon, I accept your life debt." 𝐫𝐞𝐻 bowed thankfully, and then he was gone. Naruto smiled. This would make things easier in the demon realm. Now he had a human to deal with. Naruto's clone was distracted, giving Sasuke the chance he needed, and he prepared his attack. The 𝐸𝐴ZENGAN, the Dobe's father's technique. Sasuke felt a sick pleasure in having got it. A dark purple skeletal figure began forming around Sasuke. Naruto waited patiently for the Susanoo to be complete. He was going to crush that damned Uchiha pride of his. The Susanoo raised the sword in its left hand, intending to bring it down on the blonde. Naruto finally turned around to face his opponent. "I have tired of this game. Uchiha." Naruto's eyes met Sasuke's through the transparent form of the Susanoo. The Susanoo brought the sword down. Demonic art. Soul Flame Incarnation. Everyone watched with bated breath as a giant translucent figure of a bird formed above Naruto. The bird, a phoenix, shook its feathers and launched itself at the Susanoo. With a booming crack of thunder, the bird impacted the Susanoo. The struggle for power lasted but a moment, and before everyone's eyes, the Susanoo crumbled. Sasuke couldn't even comprehend what had happened. Naruto just watched coolly. Sasuke snapped out of his thoughts, enraged and frightened in equal measure. He displaced himself with a clone. He had no misconception that Naruto wouldn't discover him. Not anymore, but the blonde had no more clones left, and Sasuke hoped that his clone could distract the blonde. He had chakra for only 2 more attacks left. Naruto knew at the moment the Uchiha started what used to be one of his father's and later his signature techniques. Naruto closed his eyes and, just as the Uchiha was about to drive the 𝐸𝐴ZENGAN to his back, he turned around and caught his wrist in an iron grip. A twist and the sickening crack as the bones of Sasuke's arm shattered at 4 places. Outwardly, there was no blood, but the scream that the Uchiha let out and how his arms stayed limp and useless at his side after that showed how much damage he had taken. Sasuke attempted to retreat, but Naruto was done playing this game. A kick shattered the Uchiha's knee, and his leg bent at an awkward angle. He stifled another scream. Naruto caught his face in one hand and made him face Naruto at eye level. "Look at me," he commanded. Sasuke's pain-filled eyes opened to show the spinning Mangekyo Sharingan. "Fool," he said smugly while still in pain, "Tsukuyomi. This ends now." It only lasted a second. The audience watched dumbfounded as Naruto seemed to come back to his body. The Uchiha slumped against him, and Naruto placed him on the ground. Before walking away, "Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. What happened inside Tsukuyomi world? In this world I am God," Sasuke said. "I will dash." "Stop," Naruto said, and suddenly Sasuke couldn't speak. He gaped and tried to speak, but nothing happened. The bindings that tied Naruto down fell away and disappeared. Sasuke was frightened as he saw chains slither towards him. They wound up his body and bound him down. Golden flames censored along the seams of his seemingly limitless world, and cracks appeared on the sky as Naruto's chakra overpowered it. The red and black shades of the Tsukuyomi world faded and became white and gray shades. Sasuke couldn't believe what was happening. First Susanoo, now this. How could the dope control his jutsu? His Mangekyo Sharingan's jutsu. Naruto looked around and was satisfied with what he saw. The world was completely under his control now. "You used to be a nice kid, Sasuke." Naruto began ignoring Sasuke's glare. "The first 2 years of the academy, I still remember how you used to laugh and smile. Even though you didn't try to make friends with me, you smiled kindly at me. I used to think that you would grow up into a wonderful, kind, and loving person. I'll even admit that I had a slight crush on you back then. But then the massacre happened, and you were so broken. You broke, and those who tried to fix things only managed to twist you into something else. They made you functional but wrong. I pitied you after that. I wanted to help you. I wanted to bring back the smiling little boy who loved his family and lived for the smiles his mother and brother gave." Naruto looked at Sasuke. There was a wide-eyed, panicked, and angry and confused look in his eyes. His mouth moved, forming words that couldn't be heard. "My obsession with you started all the way back, then I suppose. First a crush, then a friend, and finally reached a brother. All because I still saw the image of that kind little boy when I looked at you. Despite your surly attitude, I knew you were worth saving. But I gave up on you. After the banishment, I pushed that little boy to the back of my mind. And I looked at you and your actions, and not the image of a forgotten boy. I hated it. I hated what you had become. I hated everything you had done. A spoiled brat, you were Sasuke. For 7 years, I held that hatred. You had, knowingly or not, destroyed everything I had worked to achieve. Itachi tried to correct me, of course. Naruto watched as Sasuke's struggles become wild and mindless. He waited for the man to settle. Did you know your brother still loves you? He blames himself for what you have become. Sasuke looked furious and confused and lost. One night, drunk and depressed, Itachi began telling me stories. About you when you were little, how much he loved you, and he told me what exactly he did that night. What he did to you. Sasuke's eyes were glazed over as memories long forgotten played before him. I believe that what you have become today, this despicable man you are, is a result of what you went through that night. Itachi made a mistake, and you paid the price with your sanity. I can't even blame your brother because he thought he was doing the right thing. Inside you, something is still broken, shattered, and put together the wrong way. So I want you to know that I forgive you." Sasuke looked lost. He was desperately trying to hold on to his anger. Naruto could see that. But he was losing it. But Naruto paused for a moment, gaining Sasuke's attention. "I cannot and will not forget about your wrongdoings. I promise someone that you will be punished for what you did to her. And I promise myself that I will end the Uchiha line, so you shall be punished." Sasuke didn't react. He just laid there slowly, taking this all in. He had already given up. If the blonde could take over the Tsukuyomi just like that, then Sasuke knew that he had a snowball's chance in hell of beating Naruto. But who was the dope talking about? Ending the Uchiha line? Was he going to kill him? Is this some kind of apology before he snapped Sasuke's neck? But I also think that you deserve a second chance. Sasuke looked at Naruto confused. Wasn't he just talking about how he hated what he had become? In here, time runs differently. And since I am the one controlling the time dilation, I have made it so that every second out there would equal a month. The amount of chakra that would require. Sasuke's eyes widened. Then he wondered why he was even surprised anymore. You shall pay for all of your actions, Uchiha, and at the end of your punishment, you shall be given a second chance. So shall we begin? Danzo watched the match with wonder. But only Kayashiro could see the emotions behind the blank face. Our Lord is merciful, Danzo whispered reverently. Kayashiro smiled. Although he had wanted to punish the demon for attacking his mate, he approved what his mate had done. How long do I have to act like this? Danzo asked. Kayashiro smirked. It would take a while. I'm not sure about his intentions, but he would want to have you be the Hokage. He might hate this village, but I think there are still people here who deserve a good life. He will not let Konoha be destroyed, which is exactly what would happen if he let someone else become the Hokage. So you would have to live as Danzo for a few years at least, Kit, or until you find a successor, someone who could fix this godforsaken village. Danzo frowned. That would take a long, long time. Kayashiro was the only one there that could see past the Kitsune illusion and see Danzo's real appearance. The little two-tailed Kitsune with fluffy orange hair and deep green eyes that disguised as Danzo. After Naruto was done with Danzo last night, there wasn't much left of the man. Naruto had decided that it would be better if Konoha didn't find out that their Hokage had been killed just yet. He watched as the Uchiha slumped forward unconscious. Kayashiro knew that the mercy shown to the Uchiha today was due to Itachi pleading his brother's case to Naruto months ago. Kayashiro didn't know exactly what Naruto had done with the Uchiha yet. Just like the others, Sasuke too didn't have any more chakra left. Other than that, Kayashiro didn't know what had been done. The Uchiha was removed from the stadium, and the next match was called. From among the audience, she watched the Uchiha heir's defeat. Just as Naruto had promised, the bastard was suffering. She had done enough research about the Sharingan to know that the 1 second that Naruto and the bastard spent inside the Tsukuyomi will be equal to 72 hours. Naruto promised to make the bastard pay, and she trusted him. By the end of the day, Uchiha will be left without a penny of his clan wealth to his name and the precious Sharingan he took pride in. He would no longer be a ninja, would never be able to repopulate his precious clan. He had destroyed her life for a mission. He deserved this. As the bastard hit the ground, she felt satisfied. For all the trouble he had put her through, for what he had done to her, this was his punishment. She wanted to kill him. She wanted him dead and gone. But Naruto convinced her otherwise. After all, even though he had hurt her, even though he destroyed her life, she had got something precious out of it. She hadn't realized that her eyes were filling with tears until it was pointed out. "Ma, why are you sad?" She blinked. The tears that had collected fell from her eyes, and some clung to her eyelashes like dewdrops. She hastily wiped her eyes and looked at her son. "I am not sad, honey. Just some dust got in my eyes, that's all." The boy, no older than 5, looked at her with dark eyes that were so much like that bastard's, but still so different. Her son was too sharp for his age and probably understood that she was lying, but as always, he didn't question. He knew full well that when his mother lied, it was either because he was too young to know or it hurt her to talk about it, so he didn't push and instead distracted her. "I like Naruto-san. He's awesome." She smiled. "He is." After a moment's pause, she called, "Haruki." Little Haruki looked at her with curious eyes. "What, Ma? Do you want to go to Demon Country? We can live there, start a new life. We won't have to run again. There are good schools there, and you can make a lot of friends too." Haruki looked at her with unabashed wonder and hope. "Can we really, Ma?" She smiled sadly. She had lived the last 5 years on the run, hiding from shadows and running at the first sight of shinobi. She had been terrified when she came here with Haruki. As a result of the life they lead, Haruki never got a chance at stability. Despite how much she loved him and he loved her in turn, just like any other child, he too needed a stable home. "Yes," she replied, "we can." As Haruki laughed happily, she remembered the conversation she had with Naruto last night. Flashback. Danzo had been eliminated, and now Naruto could go back to his suite, but before that he would need to find someone to replace Danzo. He had briefly toyed with the idea of letting Konoha find their new Kage dead and watching them run around like headless chicken, but he disregarded it immediately. As fun as it would be even more beneficial if one of his own was leading Konoha. That way Konoha could be brought out of the grave they had dug themselves. He hated the people of Konoha. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. That, however, didn't mean he hated the village, or at least the ideology named Konoha. The will of fire, as foolish as though it was what his father and grandfather figure had fought and died for. So he wasn't just going to let these assholes drag it through the mud and dirty everything that Konoha stood for. These people were the disease, and Naruto would be more than glad to get rid of them. Either they accept to change, or he would make them. There would be no third option that didn't involve death. The kill he had just made had settled down most of his raging instincts, and after the matches tomorrow, he will calm down even more. Then he can go about fulfilling his promise to Kaguya. Naruto smiled. That's when he noticed the woman that stumbled out of the bar. She was drunk, obviously, and a couple of guys were trying to help her. Naruto frowned and got closer, but when he recognized the woman, his frown deepened. I wouldn't do that if I were you. But then again, I don't think you have that much sense. Naruto told the guys, "What's it to you, Kid Dash?" One man slurred, squinting at him before he recognized him. "Hey, it's you demon brat." Even though he didn't really feel anything about their comment, he acted offended. "A brat? Really? So, you are not denying that you are a demon?" Naruto grinned maliciously. "No, and I will be more than happy to show you just how much of a demon I am." The guys growled and tried to move towards him, only to get taken down by the drunk woman. "Thank you for trying to help, but I can take care of myself." Naruto was impressed. She didn't look all that drunk now. He nodded before introducing himself. "I am Uzumaki Naruto." The woman rolled her eyes. "Like I don't know that." "My name is Yumiko." Naruto narrowed his eyes playfully. "I wish we could have this conversation elsewhere. I need to talk to you about something important." Yumiko rolled her eyes. "Look, buddy, I know you're the hotshot who owns a whole lot of things and all, but I am a lesbian." Naruto blinked once, twice before he laughed. "I think I gave you the wrong impression. When I said I wanted to talk, I meant I wanted to talk. Nothing more, nothing less." Yumiko narrowed her eyes at him. She was a truly beautiful woman with dark hair, brushing her shoulders, and porcelain skin and lavender eyes, and built like a goddess. He could see how much trouble she would have gotten trying to keep away unwanted advances. She was thinking over the pros and cons of the situation. He was strong, she knew that from the fight she had watched. She would be hard-pressed to stop him if he was truly after her, and it wasn't just physical powers, he was also politically, financially, and socially a powerhouse. Pissing him off would be bad, and stopping him if his intentions were otherwise would be impossible. When Naruto figured out of her train of thoughts from the expression on her face, he grimaced. "I'm a man of my word, Yumiko-san. I would not touch you, with or without your permission." Yumiko was surprised not because of what he said, but because she wanted to trust him. The conviction and honesty in his words made her believe in him. She sighed, her shoulders sagging in relief. And he gave her a sad smile. She scoffed at his look before asking, "With or without my permission?" Naruto laughed. "I have a mate, and I'd rather die than choose someone over him, Yumiko-san." She blinked. "He's a lucky guy then." Naruto shrugged, smiling. They went to his suite and sat in the lounge where there was no one but them. Kayashiro came in sometime later. By then, Naruto had eased her into a polite conversation and calmed down much of her apprehension. Kayashiro didn't look surprised to see her there. "So, what is it that you actually wanted to talk about?" she asked. Naruto's smile faded as a solemn look replaced his carefree countenance. "Your son." The change in her attitude was immediate. She was on the defensive and looked about ready to murder them. "Hell hath no fury." "No," she said. "Whatever offer you have, no. Just no. Please relax, Yumiko-san. We mean no harm to either of you." She smiled, censored, "Turley, somehow I doubt that. What will you do after I keep denying whatever it is you want? Will you force me?" She shook her head, cursing her foolishness. "If you're talking about my son, then you know who he is, and I won't let you touch him." Naruto didn't react. "If you say no and walk away after you hear us out, Yumiko-san, I will let you go. Unharmed and safe. We will not approach your son either. And yes, we know who he is, or to be more specific, who his father is. And we know your son has that accursed dojutsu." Yumiko was as stiff as a board. Any friendliness she felt earlier was gone. But she was listening, so Kayashiro counted that as a win. "Your son Haruki is Uchiha Sasuke's offspring." Yumiko tried not to shiver at that bastard's name. "That bastard has no claim to my son. Haruki is mine and mine alone." Naruto was looking at her with a calm expression. "We are not here to question your rights over your son, Yumiko. He is yours and yours alone. What we wish to discuss is about his dojutsu. I will not let you make my child a weapon or a breeder, Yumiko said angrily. No, you are mistaken again, Yumiko, and we don't want the dojutsu as a weapon, nor do we want to reproduce it. We want it gone. Yumiko didn't understand for a moment, but then horror settled in. I won't let you kill him or destroy his eyes. Naruto sighed. Again, you are mistaken. What I am suggesting won't hurt your son in any way other than that he nor his descendants would ever awaken that dojutsu. You do understand that his dojutsu is different from the Sharingan, right? It's more powerful and more dangerous. Yumiko swallowed heavily. What are you proposing? Naruto smiled softly. I can remove the dojutsu in such a way that your son will be completely unharmed and make sure that the genes are suppressed so that none of his children will inherit it. Yumiko thought about it. How can I trust you? Why are you even doing this? You don't have to trust me right now, but I have done a similar procedure on someone back in my home country. I can arrange it so that you can meet with him and discuss this before making your decision. As for why I am doing this, I made a promise to some people that I will never let them be forced to act against their will by that accursed dojutsu. The world doesn't need the Sharingan and the curse that comes with it, Yumiko-san, so I am getting rid of it. Yumiko looked a little lost, not understanding, but willing to give this a chance because it was that dojutsu that made them run and hide Haruki's entire life up until now. If they could get rid of it and have her child stay safe. Who is this man you speak of? His name is Itachi Uchiha. Naruto noticed her shudder. I know whatever experience you had with Sasuke made you like this, Yumiko-san, but I give you my word that Itachi and his brother share only one trait, and that is their blood. Yumiko chuckled without any mirth. Experience, huh? You have a way with your words, Naruto. Her eyes glazed over as she thought about how She shook her head and dispelled those thoughts. This is the second time you give me your word, and I haven't broken it. Yumiko nodded. Yet, Kayashiro chuckled when Naruto's jaw clenched. Do not question his honor, Yumiko-san. He is very sensitive about it. Naruto glared at Kayashiro, causing Yumiko to smile at the couple. Tomorrow is your match with the Uchiha. Kick his ass for me, will you? Making him suffer for all the pain he caused. Yumiko said with a cold smile. Naruto looked at her and nodded. I will, but I will not kill him, Yumiko-san. Seeing her disappointed look, Kayashiro said, Itachi, his brother is very close to us. He begged us to give his brother a second chance, and Naruto promised. By now you should understand that he keeps his word, but he will be punished for his crimes, and after tomorrow, if Uchiha Sasuke ever goes back to the despicable man he is today, we will end him. Yumiko thought about it for some time before nodding. After all, bastard or not, because of him she got her precious son. She would have been happier if the bastard was dead though. Flashback end. Yumiko hugged Haruki tight as her son rambled on about making new friends. She wondered what Itachi would be like. How would he treat Haruki after he finds out about his brother's illegitimate son? Ma, the next fight is starting. Haruki's excited whisper brought her out of her anxious thoughts, and she looked down at the arena. When she looked at her son, she froze. His eyes were glowing red. She hastily pulled his face against her chest, ignoring his protest, and checking if anyone had seen his eyes before reapplying the Genjutsu to hide his eyes. She noticed the curious stare of a little girl next to her and swallowed. The girl, younger than his own son, just gave her an adorable gap-toothed smile before turning back to the matches excitedly. Yumiko sighed in relief and released her son, making sure that his eyes looked normal. Ma, the boy asked nervously. It's fine, Haruki. Oh, look, Naruto is fighting. With that, her son was distracted again. Kurenai Yuhi V/S Naruto Uzumaki begin. Kurenai had figured out from Naruto's fight with Sasuke that Genjutsu, even those enhanced by the Sharingan, were useless against Naruto. So she didn't bother with it and went straight ahead to Taijutsu, not giving him a chance to get ready. But just as she had expected, he avoided all her attacks easily. And when she tried to punch him, he caught her hand and his left leg was already ready to crash into her midsection, but something happened. Instead of getting hit as she had expected, he stopped, his leg only inches away from her. Suddenly, he let her go and moved back. You know that you won't win today, Yuhi-san. So quit while you are ahead, please. Everyone went silent at that, and Kurenai wavered. Why was he suddenly showing a change of attitude? He could defeat her easily, and everyone won there knew that as well. And here he was showing her mercy. No one had expected such a reaction from Naruto. What's going on? Tsunade asked, confused by Naruto's sudden hesitation. Jiraiya and the remaining Jonin were also under the same confusion. This is something she could take advantage of, Kakashi said, surprising everyone there. What are you talking about? Asuma demanded. After all, whatever happened down there would decide the fate of his wife. Kakashi was still. I am not sure what is going on, but from the look in his face at the moment, he had touched Kurenai. He is hesitant to attack her. She should take advantage of this. But why would he be hesitant? It's definitely not because she is a woman. I mean, he had no problem fighting Sakura, Ino, and the others. And if it's not about that, then why? Jiraiya pondered. Kurenai's confusion only lasted a second. Her eyes flickered to the Kage box. If she quit, Danzo will have her head. Naruto frowned, seeing her look. Do not worry about Danzo. I will make sure that you will face no repercussions if you quit. I will even remove you entirely from the challenges, so that you won't lose anything. Everyone in the stadium had a collective expression of WTF. Why would you do that? Kurenai asked finally. Naruto huffed. You are in no condition to take such risks just because. Naruto paused. His expression finally settled in a look of realization. You don't know, do you? Kurenai could only shake her head dumbly. But an idea was forming in the back of her mind. Why did Naruto stop Kayashiro? Kayashiro too was looking at the scene confused. I am not sure. He seems hesitant to attack. Why? Kayashiro frowned before realization settled. Oh, I see. What? Kayashiro smiled. You should know that no demon in their right mind would ever try to harm children as well as caring mothers. So she is. Yeah. Naruto shifted. You're pregnant. Kurenai gaped. The kunai dropped to the ground, and her hand went to her stomach. She was frozen in place for a few moments. Everything was blurring all of a sudden, and she realized she was crying. They had tried, oh God, they had tried for the last 3 years, and were disappointed every time when the test came out negative. She didn't doubt Naruto. She didn't care how he knew, but she was sure that he was not lying. What use would be of such a cruel lie? Then she realized what would have happened if Naruto had let that kick connect. She rushed forward, shocking Naruto and everyone present. If anyone expected her to attack, they were surprised when Kurenai wrapped her arms around Naruto instead and sobbed out, thank you for being the bearer of the good news and for stopping that kick when he did. Naruto just patted her back. Asuma was frozen in the contestants' box. It took a few minutes for the news to finally sink in, and Asuma shuddered. He was going to be a father. Tsunade, is it true? How would he know? This isn't a prank, is it? I trust him, Asuma, Tsunade replied. His abilities till now have shown us that he is capable of a lot of things, so I wouldn't be surprised if he is right, Jiraiya added. Asuma didn't realize that he was crying. 3 years. After 3 years of disappointment and sadness. He paled when, just like Kurenai, he too realized what would have happened if Naruto was a little slow in stopping that kick. He vanished in a shunshin and appeared beside his wife and Naruto. Kurenai let go of Naruto and engulfed Asuma in a bear hug that Asuma accepted wholeheartedly. Both of them were crying and laughing, and the whole stadium was cheering for the soon-to-be parents. Naruto smiled softly, looking at the sky. Is this how you felt, Dad? Mom, when you found out about me? Naruto looked at Asuma, who had called his name. Thank you for the kindness you showed today. I don't know what would have become of us if. Thank you. Both of us quit, Naruto. I realize that time away from Konoha has only made you better. I am sorry for any trouble we caused you and for trying to bring you back. If my father was alive, he would be proud of the man you have become. Naruto nodded, smiling. Kurenai uttered one final thank you and a hug before both of them left the arena. During her hug, Naruto let a small censored of his chakra enter her to make sure that she would give birth to the triplets safely. Treat them well, he whispered. Kurenai's eyes widened, and then she turned giddy with happiness. They left the arena happier than when they entered. They were the only contestants so far to walk away from the arena, and Naruto was happy for them. Winner Naruto, Uzumaki. Naruto hummed to himself. He was feeling pretty good with himself. Now that he had got rid of Danzo and got rid of the lingering frustrations that Konoha had caused, he was feeling less vengeful and more like his usual self. If he knew beating up his ex-comrades would be so freeing, he would have done it a long time ago. Kayashiro chuckled when he felt his mate's mood. It seems that the Biju instincts were finally settling down and his mind was clearer. Not that Naruto ever lost his mind, it was just that he had a more vengeful streak these days due to his instincts acting out. Once done with Konoha, Naruto and Kayashiro can continue with their lives in peace. Konoha was the last piece of Naruto's plans, and everything was falling into place. Kayashiro was proud of his mate, and he was even prouder to be Naruto's mate. Ma, why did he stop? What does prenup mean? Yumiko almost smiled at her adorable son. Around her, the other kids had similar questions. It means she's going to have a baby, sweetheart. She's going to become a mother, just like Ma. Haruki's eyes widened in awe, then he frowned. But why did he stop fighting? Because he didn't want to hurt her and the baby. Yumiko sincerely hoped that her son doesn't ask where the baby came from. But having a baby makes you stronger, right? Haruki asked. A woman next to her chuckled. Who told you that, honey? Haruki looked at her with suspicion before answering. Ma did. Yumiko was confused. I did. Haruki frowned cutely. You did, Ma. The woman and some others were watching as the young boy explained. You were fighting off that big bad guy when we were in Tea Country, remember? You said he was stronger than you and wanted to go away, but he came after us and didn't let us go. But then you defeated him. And then you told me you were strong because you had to protect me. You said that parents are strong when they have to fight for their kids. And you are really strong, Ma, because you have me. Yumiko blinked the moisture out of her eyes while the others around her were surprised and looking at the adorable boy with a smile. Yumiko censored her son's forehead. You're right, honey. A woman becomes stronger when she becomes a mother. Haruki smiled satisfied before looking down at the arena again. Why she is hugging him now? Then he gasped. Is it a secret attack? Naruto-sama, look out, he screeched. Yumiko chuckled. Haruki, sweetheart, I think she's just hugging him because she's really happy. Haruki and his adorableness were grabbing attention from everyone, and Yumiko felt her paranoia creeping in. She kept her heart steady, and things calmed down for a while as Kurenai left with Asuma. Then the little girl with the missing teeth said something that caught everyone's attention. She has baby in tummy? The kid asked, confused, before she looked horrified and screeched. She, baby. That was enough to get the other kids riled up, and screeching only Haruki was quiet. But he too looked very horrified. Yumiko sighed and silently prayed that the second match started soon. As if hearing her prayers, the announcement occurred. 𝐤𝐢𝐳 v/S Naruto Uzumaki begin. Naruto waits for 𝐤𝐢 to start his speech about youth and all that, but to his surprise, he doesn't. Naruto is bemused by the look the older man gives him. Naruto-san, the way you acted earlier with Kurenai, you are very kind and an honorable person. I believe leaving Konoha has done you more good than bad. Today I will fight for my village since it's my duty, but I want you to know that I do not want to drag you here from the life you built. Naruto just nods. He knew that 𝐤𝐢 was a man who took his duty to the village seriously and would obey orders even if they seem unyouthful, so to speak. He will deal with 𝐤𝐢 just like he dealt with the others. He wanted Konoha to survive, but he was vengeful enough to make it suffer. That was the shortest fight yet. 𝐤𝐢 moved at speeds that were only visible to Kage-level ninjas and dojutsu wielders. Naruto punched his lights out as soon as he got close, knocked out with one punch. At least 𝐤𝐢 didn't have to feel the pain of his chakra being ripped out because he was unconscious before it happened. Winner Naruto Uzumaki. It's your turn next, Kakashi. Kakashi nodded at Jiraiya with a sigh. We still haven't figured out what he is doing to them, and I have no false hope that I will win this fight either. The best I can do, Jiraiya-sama, is to try and tire him out. Kakashi says, and hears Tsunade scoff from the other side. He sighed, but I don't think even that will work. Jiraiya stares at Tsunade, and she stares back. Kakashi slouches and walks towards the arena as his name is announced. Once Kakashi is out of the contestants' box, Jiraiya asks, "You know, don't you?" Tsunade raises an eyebrow. What's that supposed to mean? Be more specific. Jiraiya glares. You know what it is that he has done to the others. Tsunade shrugs. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Tsunade, don't, Jiraiya. By now I can guess what it is you're going to say. So I am telling you to shut up before you make things worse than it already is between us. Jiraiya smiles ruefully. You say that as if this could possibly get any worse, Tsunade. We have already reached the point where you despise me. What more is there? Tsunade doesn't answer. Why? Tsunade sighs and looks at Jiraiya pensively. Because I was wrong, Jiraiya. I made a mistake, and now I am trying to make it right by betraying your village. Tsunade scowls, but Jiraiya's face is blank. My village? This hasn't been my village, my home, in a long time, Jiraiya. Things have changed and gone off the rails, and we have done absolutely nothing to fix it. The council planned, and that old coot manipulated, and No, we just stood there and took it. Tsunade shakes her head. I am not a good leader, Jiraiya. It is evident from how things went. No, I know that my grandfather and uncle would be ashamed of what I let his village become. Minato and Sensei, everyone that gave anything for this village should be ashamed of what became of this village. Jiraiya looks at her with a desperate, pleading look. That's why we have to have Naruto back, Tsunade. He can fix it. I know he can dash. I know, she says calmly. He is the only one who can, but we long since lost the right to force him to do that, Jiraiya. Just open your eyes for once and do the right thing. Please. Jiraiya didn't answer, and that was the end of that conversation. Kakashi Hatake versus Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto, Hatake, the two men faced each other. You're strong. Naruto doesn't react. And the man you have become today, your parents would have been proud of you. I know I have no right, but I am glad that I got to be your sensei. Naruto frowns. What are you trying to do, Hatake? I just wanted to let you know that. I'm not sure anymore. But what I said is true. Naruto shakes his head. It's a little too late for that, Hatake. Kakashi slouches. I suppose you are right. Naruto stopped a punch from Kakashi, who appeared at his side. Kakashi tried to kick him, but Naruto kneed him in the gut, causing Kakashi to go up in a pour of smoke as a log replaced him. Naruto ducked and punched Kakashi, who appeared behind him, and swiped his legs out from under him, only for that too to turn into a log. Naruto moved back, avoiding the hand that came from underground, and stomped on the ground, causing fissures to appear. Kakashi jumped out of the ground and started going through hand signs. He didn't get to finish it before Naruto appeared behind him and strikes his spine. The hit only connected with another log. Naruto rolled his eyes. He used to be a ninja and now a Biju king, but even he didn't know where the endless supply of logs came from. Fire style, fire dragon technique. Naruto placed his right hand on the ground. A mud wall erupted and stopped the dragon. Kakashi appeared behind the wall, hoping to catch Naruto, but the blonde wasn't there. He turned wary. The earth beneath him turned soft, and he began sinking in. He cursed and tried to jump, but before he could, Naruto was in front of him, and a hand jabbed at his throat. Kakashi didn't scream, as his chakra was ripped out of him simply because his vocal cords had been disabled along with it. As Kakashi laid unmoving on the ground, Naruto looked up and locked eyes with Jiraiya. Naruto didn't smile, and Jiraiya's expression never changed. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade Senju versus Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade steps into the arena as her name is called for the next match. Jiraiya is silent and pensive beside her. The anticipation for the fight between the Sannin and the blonde is high. But by now, most people have accepted that Naruto will come out on top. Naruto stands there calmly and looks at her. Tsunade takes a deep breath. I forfeit. The crowd roars at that. Winner Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto looks at her coldly, and she feels like she is being dissected. You sure? He asks finally. Tsunade's jaw clench, and she nods. I am. I want to do it. Tsunade pays no attention to anyone or anything else but Naruto, who is scrutinizing her. Finally, Naruto nods, and Tsunade feels relieved. She turns around and leaves the stadium. What was that? Jiraiya asks as soon as she is near him. Didn't you hear? I forfeited. Tsunade says plainly. Jiraiya's expression doesn't change. It is as blank as it had been since Kurena's match. There is something more, Tsunade. The way you spoke to him, I have a feeling that your words weren't strictly pertaining to the match. Tsunade looks at Jiraiya mildly. Well, even if it isn't, it's none of your business. Jiraiya doesn't reply, and the next and final match is called. Tsunade lets her ex-teammate, an old friend, walk past her into the stadium. Earlier that morning, Tsunade turned around startled at the sound. She was resting in the Senju compound, enjoying the place while it was still open to her. She had already decided on forfeiting, so from tomorrow onwards, she wouldn't have any rights to the home she grew up in. It was painful despite the fact that she had abandoned the place on her own for more than a decade. When she turned around, Naruto was standing behind her. Tsunade's eyes widened. Naruto absent-mindedly glanced around the house. You said you wanted to talk to me. I'm listening. Tsunade was speechless for some time. Sure, Kayashiro had promised her a chance to talk with Naruto, but now that she finally got the chance, she found herself stumbling. Naruto! Even his name came out choked. Naruto sighed when she stayed silent. speechless. Finally, he decided to move things along. "What do you want, Tsunade?" Tsunade blinked away her tears. "I want to apologize for everything I have done to you. I am so sorry, Naruto. Please, you have to understand that I really am sorry for all that I did. I know that this might not change anything, but you have to know." She was crying now. "I do." Tsunade looked up in surprise at him. "I know you were sorry, and I know that you were sincere. I know." She hadn't expected him to just accept her apology just like that. He speaks, leaving her even more confused. "But tell me, Tsunade, as sorry as you are, what are you exactly sorry for?" Tsunade swallowed heavily. "For banishing you." Naruto raised an eyebrow and gestures to himself. "I don't think you did me any harm by banishing me, Tsunade. So what else?" For not noticing you were injured when you brought in Sasuke." Naruto shrugged. The Kyuubi had healed almost everything by then. No one would have noticed at first glance that I was injured. Not when everyone assumed that the blood was Uchiha's. "So what else?" Tsunade doesn't know where this is going. "For not listening to you. I never gave you a chance to explain. I didn't trust you enough." Naruto shakes his head. "You didn't trust me at all? But that's not something one should apologize for, Tsunade. Trust is something that should be earned, and I had known you for only a few months by then. You didn't trust me over your colleagues. Not your fault. But yes, you didn't give me a chance at all. That is something you should be sorry for. Let's be honest though, even if you had, it would have been useless when everyone was looking forward to getting rid of me. So what else?" Tsunade looked frustrated. "What do you want me to say, Naruto?" Naruto smiles coldly. "I want to know what you are sorry for." Tsunade closes her eyes. "I am sorry for not trying. I am sorry for letting you down, for trying to drag you back from the life you had built. I am sorry for being a failure of a Kage, for letting the council and others use me as their puppet, for being a coward. I am sorry for everything, for everything." Naruto looks at the crying woman. "You are right. You are a coward and a failure of a Kage." She flinches. Naruto looks around, appreciating the architecture of the Senja home. "Now that we have established that you are sorry, what do you want to do about it?" She looks up in hope. "Do you forgive me?" Naruto turns back to look at her, and he says without a pause, "I do, but I don't trust you." Tsunade closes her eyes, happy but dejected. Naruto looks at her for a moment, observing her. "What are you willing to do to earn my trust back?" Tsunade answers without thinking. "Anything." Naruto smirks. "That's a powerful word, Tsunade. So I'll tell you what I expect from you, and you can decide whether or not you can do it." Tsunade frowns. She has a distinct feeling that he is using this opportunity to get what he wants, but Naruto's not like that. Is he? But then again, what did she know about this Naruto? Tsunade is brought out of her memories when Jiraiya charged at Naruto with a Rasengan. She narrows her eyes. What is that idiot doing? Tsunade and Naruto were the only ones who noticed how sloppy Jiraiya's fighting was. Only because they both knew him and his style, and this was not like him at all. Naruto was looking at Jiraiya with narrowed eyes. "What are you up to, Jiraiya?" Jiraiya doesn't answer and instead charges him again. Naruto dodges and retaliates with one of his own Rasengan, which grinds through Jiraiya's wrist. Jiraiya doesn't scream or cry out, but instead just stupidly charges him again. Naruto growls, censored, frustrated by his former mentor's actions, and kicks out and listens to the crunch of the man's leg breaking. Jiraiya doesn't scream now either. Just sits there looking lost. Naruto moves towards him slowly. "Was I wrong?" Jiraiya asks softly. Naruto narrows his eyes. "Are you really asking me that?" Jiraiya looks at him blankly. Naruto looks at him equally blankly. "Yes, you were." He places his palm on Jiraiya's head, and Jiraiya slumps to the ground. This time he does scream. The applause from the audience is deafening. The final battle is over. It's finally over. Naruto turned to look at his mate with a small smile. "You know, it's not Kayashiro." Kayashiro hummed softly while bringing Naruto into his arms. "Well, it's as good as done right now, Naru." "Yeah," Naruto agreed. "Konoha is the last chapter, and then we can be done with this chore." Naruto wrapped his arms around Kayashiro, and both of them stayed silent for a few moments. "I am proud of you, Naru," Kayashiro said softly. "You could have razed this village to the ground with a thought, but you didn't. I mean, that would have been the easiest method of fulfilling your promise to Kaguya, but you chose the difficult path and spared their lives. I am glad." Naruto smiled. "Thank you. I assure you it wasn't easy." Kayashiro chuckled. "Oh, I know. Most of the time I wanted to do it myself. Ignorant fools, these humans, 𝐫𝐤𝐴 huffed. Naruto laughed freely. The weight of the promise he had been carrying since he became the 𝐤𝐢𝐵 easing up a little. I love you. 𝐫𝐤𝐴 smirked smugly. Oh, I know. Naruto rolled his eyes and made to pull back, only for 𝐫𝐤𝐴 to pull him back into his arms. And I love you too. Now let's go face the council. Konoha Council Chamber. It was eerily quiet in the usually loud room. All of the clan heads and merchants' heads were accounted for, along with the Hokage and the Fire Country and Whirlpool Daimyo. Naruto and 𝐫𝐤𝐴 watched the proceedings with a lazy smile. The Hokage stood up and addressed the council and daimyos properly before beginning the meeting. One foolish merchant stood up hastily. Daimyo-sama, we want you to reconsider the terms of this competition. 75% of the village's properties are owned by the clans, and if we lose all right to them, there won't be a village any longer. And then the shouts and pleas began in a similar strain. Naruto just smiled while all the clan heads had enough pride to keep silent. Hibara kept her face carefully blank. Finally, the Fire Daimyo had enough and sent a meaningful look to Danzo. Enough, Danzo said. His words carried a power that was never there before. The council quieted almost immediately. Daimyo-sama, whatever your word is, we will obey, Danzo said, unusually subdued. As you should have from the beginning, the daimyo scorned and then cleared his throat before addressing the whole council. There will be no change in any of the terms. If I remember correctly, you all brought this on yourselves. All of them were starting to look panicked. The clan compounds, scrolls, and properties that had been part of the wager have been already transferred to Namikaze-san. I cannot be changed, but I request Namikaze-san to consult me before going forward with any plans he may have for the properties, as it is a matter of security. Naruto nodded respectfully. He will destroy us, Daimyo-sama, one merchant cried out, causing Naruto to shake his head in pity. Self-absorbed fools. He had other things to do than exact unnecessary vengeance. Before the daimyo could retort angrily to the outburst caused by the man, Naruto stood up. Everyone's attention turned to him. He was not someone you can ignore. I have already decided on what to do with the properties I have acquired. If it makes this go any easier, I am willing to share it with the council. Silence greeted the announcement. One of the merchants scoffed as if he expected Naruto had some plan to bomb the village center. Surprisingly, it was 𝐸 who spoke calmly. We would like that, Namikaze-san. Naruto nodded. I plan to renovate all the clan houses, Inoichi asked in dubious surprise. And by renovating you mean? Naruto shrugged. I will tear down the entire compound before rebuilding. I may or may not keep some the same, depends on the architecture. There was an instant uproar from the civilians while the clan heads all looked pained. And what is the purpose of this renovation? Shikako asked calmly. Naruto sighed. My current plans include a cheap housing facility for working orphans and another as an orphanage, a public school, a multi-specialty hospital, and I plan to use the other compounds for the Golden Fox and Fire Rose corporations. A startup company from Grass Country has requested aid in branching out to other nations, and I plan on giving one compound to them after ironing out the details of the agreement. A school for medicine will be established, and the student selection criteria will be the same as the Demon Country ones. Then the remaining will become resorts and hotels. The civilians were stunned. They didn't actually think that Naruto had any plan other than ruining them. Naruto continued. Then I plan on changing the layout for the market district. Listening to the beginning protest, Naruto reminded them, which used to belong to 3 clans, Namikaze, Senju, and Uchiha, and hence now belong to me. The protests died down. The Forest of Death, which belonged to the Senju, will be placed under the care of our corporations, and as a means to protect and preserve the exotic wildlife, will be banned from being used for any other purposes. But what about the Chunin exams? Someone asked. Naruto shrugged. Not my concern. I want to re-establish the civilian police and a merchant council for managing all the import and export of goods and services. But Namikaze-san, we already have the shinobi as police and a merchant council. Naruto shook his head. The terms of our wager states that any property owned by me will be beyond your jurisdiction. And I want a method for control without having to rely on you. Which is to say, I don't trust you. He ignored the resultant protests. The property owned by the Sarutobi, Inuzuka, and Abarum will be reclaimed, which would include multiple pet clinics and shops beyond the market district. Naruto looked at them all and watched their dismay, and then gleefully continued. Then there is the property owned by the Higurashi and Haruno. Some of the merchants gasped. In their worry regarding the clan properties, they had almost forgotten that Higurashi owned the major weapon supply for the shinobi, and the Haruno controlled almost all their imported goods. I am still deciding on those, Naruto said. The council was left in complete despair. The fire daimyo looked resigned. I approve of all your plans, Namikaze-san. Naruto stood up straighter. I would also like to inform you that I don't plan on giving anything to the village in terms of taxes. That caused an uproar. Even the daimyo looked concerned. But then how will we run the village? Our military will fail. The economy. You can't do that. Hibara decided to talk then. Actually, he can. You forget that he and everything he owns is no longer under Konoha's jurisdiction. But he is still under Fire Country jurisdiction, the Fire Daimyo said. Of course, Naruto agreed. I will pay the taxes due to the Fire Country. Namikaze, Inoichi began. If you do that, there won't be much of Konoha left. You already own 80% of the village's properties. Naruto laughed. I am sorry, Yamanaka-san, but that isn't much of my concern. But I am not cruel. Even though the properties will be reclaimed, I do not plan on removing the merchants from their jobs. The only difference will be that they will be under my payroll, and I do have some strict policies about how I run my businesses. If they don't abide, I will kick them out, but I won't harm them out of any personal issues. Of course, some businesses will be completely removed to make a place for other investments, but I am willing to offer jobs to the villagers provided they are willing to work under me, since the majority of Konoha have problems with that. The Fire Daimyo had nothing else to say to that. If things continued down this path, he may have to dissolve Konoha as a shinobi village. Well then, as there is nothing further to discuss. Naruto-sama, we found the 10th. Naruto looked up at Taiyo with a smile. Great. Where is it? The crypt is under the Yamanaka complex, the man informed Naruto. Naruto stood up and moved to put on his coat while speaking to himself. I had thought it would be under the Senju or Uchiha complex, but this is a pleasant surprise. Once he put on his coat, he turned to face his employee. I'll be there shortly. Go and make sure there is no repeat of last time. Naruto stepped outside, and his two bodyguards joined him. Naruto-sama, Kirin questioned. We found the last one, Kirin. It's time to finish this. Kyo, meet me at the Yamanaka complex. I'll be there, Naru. The tunnel began from beneath the old building that used to belong to the Yamanaka clan head. The building had been abandoned for years, seeing as it had been destroyed during the invasion, and they never rebuilt it. Instead, the Yamanaka had built another home for the clan head. The foundations of the building were weak, and most of it had been reduced to rubble. Naruto observed the building from outside when Kayashiro appeared beside him. Shall we go in? Kayashiro asked. Naruto nodded somberly. This was it. They found the entrance to the tunnel from what used to be the clan meeting room. It must have been used as some sort of escape tunnel. All of Naruto's workers stood outside the tunnel, not daring to step inside. Only Naruto and Kayashiro would go in from here. Naruto nodded at Taiyo, the head of the deconstruction and mining group. Make sure all of you stay safe. Let the work go on to reduce suspicion. Taiyo nodded. We are currently tearing down the main complex. Good, Kayashiro said. Keep doing that. Nobody comes near this building until Naruto or I give the all clear. Taiyo nodded, and he left with all the other workers. As soon as they left, 8 figures materialized out of the shadows. Naruto looked at the bijus present, and Shikaku assured him, Go in, Naru. We'll make sure everything's fine outside. With that, Naruto and Kayashiro went inside. Inside the tunnel was darkness. Kayashiro conjured a ball of foxfire to illuminate their way. As they crept forward, it was obvious that the tunnel had been used during the past decade or so. I think this is an escape tunnel, Kayashiro said. Naruto nods, but it's here. I can feel it. The emptiness, the threat. Kayashiro placed one arm around Naruto, as he always does. It's just the instinct, Naru. You're safe. It is no threat to you. Naruto nods. He knew that intellectually, and Kayashiro always assured him, but like Kayashiro said, the instincts always warred with his intellect. Right now, his instincts, his chakra, was telling him to run, to escape because the danger was ahead. Then there was the undercurrent of longing, the pull towards the emptiness that was more dangerous than the fear. He gripped Kayashiro's hand tightly and moved ahead. The tunnel stretched ahead of them, but Naruto suddenly halted with a frown. Kayashiro looked at Naruto in confusion. We're going the wrong way, Naruto said. Kayashiro looked around and hummed. I think these tunnels were built over the maze. Which means 𝐫𝐫 moved towards the walls and placed his hand on the surface before letting out a burst of yokai. Naruto stood there looking around, trying to understand where the pull was coming from. 𝐫𝐫 was frowning thoughtfully. There is no tunnel or passageway parallel to us. Below us. It's below us. Naruto murmured and crouched down, feeling the ground. 𝐫𝐫 spoke calmly. Allow me. One of his tails came out and smashed into the ground just ahead of them with a force strong enough that the ground fell through to reveal another tunnel below them. Naruto shook his head, getting a censored, careless there, Kyo. This is a tunnel. Please keep that in mind. 𝐫𝐫 just chuckled and opened his mouth to speak, but whatever sarcastic comment he had was stopped by the ground under their feet crumbling, and both of them fell downwards. Was that a scream? Shikaku asked the others. Matabai nodded. Sounds like it. Do you think we should go and help them? Son Goku asked hesitantly. All of them looked at each other before saying at the same time, No, 𝐫𝐫. Naruto said, frustrated. So much dust. 𝐫𝐫 sneezed before looking sheepishly at Naruto. Sorry? Naruto rolled his eyes. Come on, he said, moving ahead. It's this way. 𝐫𝐫 caught up with Naruto, and both of them walked until they reached a massive wooden door. Yup, this is it, 𝐫𝐫 muttered. Thank God Kaguya did not booby-trap this one. Naruto scoffed. Oh, she did. I just asked her in advance and disabled them all. 𝐫𝐫 sighed. Good thing that you did. I do not fancy getting my fur burned. Naruto took a deep breath and placed one hand on the door, and 𝐫𝐫 grabbed hold of his other hand. Naruto's hand fits perfectly into the handprint left by Kaguya's human form. Then with a burst of the Jubi chakra, the door opened. 𝐫𝐫 quickly took over and covered Naruto in yokai until Naruto was able to pull back the Jubi chakra and cloak it with his own yokai. Perks of being a demon's mate. Then both of them walked inside. Kaguya had consumed the chakra fruit from the god tree for the power it offered. She didn't understand until too late that the power was as addicting as it was corrupting. And while her sanity slowly withered, so did the tree. There was nothing to be done. It was inevitable that the tree would die once she had taken the fruit, but what she didn't know was that the tree had a way to take back what it had given. When the god tree died, it left behind 10 seeds. It wasn't for the purpose of growing a new tree, but the seeds had the same ability to absorb chakra that the tree had, only that they would absorb chakra that was once part of the tree, which in essence means Kaguya's chakra, and by technicality, her sons and their descendants who had inherited her chakra. By the time she realized the seeds were a danger to her power, she had already made enemies of her sons and feared that they would use the seeds to defeat her regardless of what may happen to them. She took the seeds and hid them in various locations in the elemental nations, away from her children's reach, and believed herself to be safe. Alas, her children managed to outwit her even without the seeds. When millenniums later Naruto had inherited her power, and she had regained her sanity, she had only one request for him. Use the seeds to take back the power she had stolen. I have seen, child, what chakra does, what the temptation of its power does. And I want you to fix my mistake. Naruto had scoffed then. War and chaos are in human nature, Jubi, not in chakra. She had closed her eyes in pain. Yes, but you see, chakra is a powerful weapon. One man can destroy a village of thousands if he knew how to use his power right. I want you to take that power away. I want you to take that weapon of mass destruction away. That way at least wars would be less devastating. Naruto thought about it. In a way she did have a point, but still, if I take their chakra, they will die. I will not be like you. I have a solution for that. And she told him about the seeds. If you do this, she tempted, I can help you gain control, child. Naruto swallowed nervously. She laughed. You thought I don't know? Your Uzumaki heritage and your connection with the Shinigami might be keeping you sane, but managing to control all that chakra? Impossible without my help. Seeing his mutinous expression, she added, I know you think I am using this to gain my powers back, but I am not. I swear in the name of the sacred that I will guide you, help you gain control, and make sure that you wouldn't hurt anyone unintentionally if you swear to fulfill my wish. She looked at him, think hard about her words. She knew he didn't have many options, not if he didn't want to accidentally blow up a few villages. Finally, in a voice so soft she heard it only barely, he said, I swear that I will fulfill your wish. Thank you. And child, call me Kaguya. I am no longer the Jubi. You are. And that had been the beginning of the tentative alliance between Kaguya and Naruto. Naruto had learned control under Kaguya, and then with Kayashiro and the other Bijus helped accomplished a lot more. Discovering the seeds had been a problem. He couldn't sense until he was close enough, and there was no other way to locate. Kaguya had given him their location as best as she could, but then the landscapes had changed and villages had been built over them, so digging out the seeds would be difficult. It helped that Naruto owned a construction and mining company that operated all around the elemental nations. The one place that skipped past him was Konoha. He was planning on an intervention himself when they had come and dropped the opportunity in his lap. The seed of the god tree looked like a smooth, spherical glass ball. It was pitch black, the kind of darkness that made you feel empty just looking at it. Naruto nodded at Kayashiro, and he picked it up. To Kayashiro, who no longer had the Biju chakra and was a simple demon, the seed was harmless. To Naruto and any other who had chakra, it was another matter entirely. The seed would suck in any chakra it could reach, and while Naruto may survive, an ordinary person would die from the shock of having his chakra ripped out. Needless to say, it was the seeds that inspired Naruto's chakra removal technique, which was much safer than the actual seeds. The only thing that saved Naruto from such close exposure was the fact that Kayashiro had him bundled under layers and layers of demonic energy, and Naruto was suppressing his chakra so deep and covering it up with his own demonic energy. They went back the way they came. Once outside, the other demons quickly took the seed and disappeared with it to the demon realm, where it would be kept until Naruto found a way to use it without having it kill the people. Luckily, he already had people working on that. Naruto. Yes, Irika? Naruto was busy typing away on his laptop that he didn't pay much attention to the man. Naruto, look at me, please. I am a censor dash. He closed his mouth when he looked up and saw Irika holding a baby. To be specific, a baby Orochimaru. Irika looked concerned. Someone dropped him off here and told me he was yours. Naruto saw the look on Irika's face and said, "What? No. I didn't get anyone pregnant, if that's what you're thinking. But yes, he is mine." Irika blinked. "Are you going to explain that? Do I need to?" Irika looked flustered. "Naruto, I know you're a demon and have all sorts of powers, and I wouldn't really find it wrong if you could. I mean, you can tell me anything. I wouldn't judge." Naruto frowned. "What are you, oh?" His eyes widened and then shook his head. No, he is not. I didn't and I cannot get pregnant." Irika looked ridiculously relieved at that. "He is mine in the sense that I saved his life, and he is no one else." "Oh, what do you plan on doing with him?" Naruto sighed. "I need to find a couple ready to take him in. I mean, Kayashiro and me, we're not really sure we could raise a baby safely." Irika watched as Naruto moved forward to trace his fingers against the sleeping baby's face softly. Naruto smiled widely when the baby cooed adorably. "But it needs to be someone we both trust because he is important, you see." Naruto looked up at Irika, and when he saw the expression on the man's face, Naruto understood. "Irika," Naruto said softly, "do you want to raise him?" Irika looked at Naruto in surprise and then hope. "Are you serious?" Naruto smiles, "Yes. I trust you to take care of him, Irika." Irika swallowed thickly and looked at Naruto gratefully. "Thank you, Naruto." Naruto smiled softly as Irika left the room. "You make a great parent, Irika." "Asuma, Tsunade-sama." Tsunade laughed at the title. "No need for that anymore since I am no longer the Hokage or the Senju clan head." Asuma nods with a smile because Tsunade doesn't seem all that upset with everything. She actually looks more carefree than ever. Both of them had run into each other outside the Hokage's office. Asuma coming out after seeing the Kage and Tsunade about to enter. "So why are you here?" Tsunade asked Asuma. "Well," Asuma started, "I was here to hand in Kurenai and my retirement forms." Tsunade's face lost its happy smile. "And how did it go?" "Surprisingly well," Asuma said befuddled. "I don't know what happened, but Danzo is very mellow. I think it is the word." Tsunade looked surprised at that. "Well, I just hope that mine goes as good as yours did." "You're quitting?" Tsunade shrugged. "Yeah, it's way past my time of retirement. I will still work at the hospital, and Naruto offered me a position at the new research facility that I just couldn't refuse." Asuma smiled. "I had almost believed that it would be all over, that he would leave Konoha crippled and destroyed, but seeing the village now, I think it's all for the best. The village is more peaceful right now." Tsunade smiled. "That is true. He would have made a great Kage." Asuma laughed at that. Oh, I think he was always meant for something greater than a Kage. They parted ways, and Tsunade was very surprised with how easy it was to get approval from Danzo. When she had arrived, Danzo was just sitting there looking like he was enjoying the wind and view, looking like a child almost. Tsunade had her suspicions, but since things were going this good, why bother with it? She was sure that Naruto was behind it anyway. It took Tsunade 5 months of research and sleepless nights before she was able to find the solution for Naruto's problem. The day she told him how to use the seeds without killing people was the day she thinks he truly forgave her. She felt happier these days, lighter. She had been horrified at first when he told her how he planned to take the chakra back from the humans. She was almost unwilling to help, but when Naruto explained, she understood. Taking the knife away from a fight would always lessen the damage, in theory. She had been desperate for his forgiveness, and she agreed quickly, but he stopped her gave her till the day of the match. And when Tsunade had forfeited, that was her way of saying yes to helping him. And now she had done it. It would take a few generations, but in the end, it would be done. Chakra would be gone. She closed her eyes and laid back. A vacation in Demon Country sounded nice right now. It had been a hardship for the contestants who had woke up after they lost only to find out they had lost the ability to use chakra entirely. Then they found out about their new living arrangements, which was a single complex courtesy of Naruto until they all managed to find better living arrangements. Sasuke, however, was a different story. He had woken up with no memory of the last 15 years of his life. His last memory was the leaving for classes on the day of the massacre. He didn't remember witnessing the massacre or the mental torture or anything that happened afterward. But he knew that his family was gone. He knew that he had tried to kill his brother for his family. He knew that his brother had been innocent. He knew that he had done some horrible things. But he had no memory of going through any of it. When Sasuke and Naruto fought, Naruto spent a lot of time carefully undoing the damage done to Sasuke's mind by Fugaku's abuse. Witnessing the massacre, his brother's betrayal, then the cursed seal. He had known that he was giving Sasuke a free pass, but Itachi, who believed himself responsible for what became of his brother, was a close friend. And Naruto did give his word. At first, Sasuke felt angry at Naruto for taking his chakra and then his memories, but he managed to get over it quickly. After all, Sasuke could still remember his mother's smile, the days he spent with Itachi and Shursui. It was not like the memories Naruto had taken was anything happy. He felt thankful because in a way he was free. He had never wanted to be a shinobi. It was a ways Fugaku's pressure and the desire to be like his brother. But now that he had a clearer view, he could see how toxic the shinobi life had been for him. So the loss of his chakra wasn't that big of a blow to him. With a lot of therapy and maybe some genuine friends, Sasuke thinks he'll be just fine. And maybe after some time, he will visit his brother and apologize, and he should probably apologize to a lot of others as well. Ino was devastated. Angry and lost, she turned to drugs, and suffice to say things were bad. Until her father managed to get her head out of her ass and convince her how lucky she was to be alive. It took a lot of work, but Inoichi was a persistent man, and he and his wife managed to, finally, get their daughter back. And although he resented Naruto for the state he left his daughter in, he knew that it had been no fault of the man. By the end, Ino was a changed woman, but in a lot of ways, it was a good change. For Shikamaru, life was easier, no longer having to live up anyone's expectations and duties. He took to civilian life well. So did Choji, who started a restaurant of his own later on. It took time for Shino and Kiba. Their ties to their partners were through their chakra, and with it gone, it was like somebody had cut out their limbs. Both of them needed a lot of therapy, but luckily they had people who weren't ready to give up on them. Tenten's dream of becoming a great kunoichi had been crushed efficiently. And with her loss of the weapons business, she had no idea what to do with life. She absolutely hated Naruto for what he did to them. It took Neji to slap her silly before she began cooling down. Then the depression started creeping in, but there was Neji, and he helped her through it. In times like this, she could admire Naruto, who had gone through hell when all of them had just abandoned him. Neji and Hinata were the only ones among their group with their chakra left, and while Neji remained as a shinobi, Hinata quit and became an instructor at one of the schools. They tried to take in a chakra-less Hanabi, but she had been resentful and angry and left the village shortly after she quit her ninja life. Years later, she would come back as a changed woman with a family of her own, and mend the bride she had broken. As for Sakura, she became suicidal. She had lost her chakra, her possessions, and her career. IT was the absolute worst situation she found herself in. Her parents resented her, and she truly understood how it feels to be hated by people she loves. Had it been not for Lee, she would have killed herself successfully. She had censored, cheated him nonstop under his care. She just wanted to die. Years later, she would thank God for sending Lee her way. Lee hadn't really understood how much of his chakra he had been using until he lost it entirely. But as always, he was nothing if not a fighter. His martial arts skills remained even though he lost his speed and power considerably. He took to teaching civilian children self-defense. Then he found Sakura ready to jump from the Hokage mountain. What followed was a difficult year before he finally managed to get through to her. After that, it was considerably smooth sailing. Granted, sometimes they would run into Sakura's parents and they would be glaring or spitting curses at them, but they held strong, and together they built a new life for themselves. Asuma and Kurenai moved to Demon Country later on with their triplets, and Konohamaru followed them. Kakashi had never thought he would work at a ramen shop, but that's what he was doing now. And unsurprisingly, Guy still showed up with silly challenges that Kakashi found himself enjoying more often these days. It was a good life, and though the guilt and self-hatred consumed him some days, Guy was right there to pull him back out. None of them knew what happened to Jiraiya, but Tsunade did. The last time Tsunade had seen the man, he had been about to go to the Toad Realm. The man was world-weary, the weight of all that he did and didn't do threatening to drown him. As far as Tsunade knew, Jiraiya spent the rest of his years as a true hermit. Even if she didn't like him all that much, she hoped he found peace. Life wasn't perfect for any of them, but it was good. 5 years later, Konoha was no longer a shinobi village, but nobody was all that upset about it. Then a decade later, the first infant was born without chakra. And as a century passed, chakra became a thing of the past. After making sure that his word to Kaguya had been fulfilled, Naruto left with Kayashiro and the other Biju to the demon realm. They had an eternity to spend together. In the end, the child of prophecy did change the world, just not in the ways some expected. I hope you guys liked the story. If you did, click on any of the videos which are popping on the screen right now. I promise you'll love them too. If you like my videos, you can like and subscribe too. I'll see you on another amazing What If video, guys. Love you all, peace.